to the Shoe and the Breeze conversation with the.
What's going on, Lo?
What's up, Ely, in the place to be?
And I said, you got to mute yourself. Unmute yourself. What's going on
Yes,
there?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Put them headphones on. Here we go. When we get a little feedback. Yours truly, Ely, in the place to be. It's Shoot the Breeze.
Yes.
The DJ, along with my man Lorenzo. What's up?
What's up, Ely, in the place to be? It be the LIT, the CIT, always on fire. I stay lit. Definitely trying to get the show on and popping.
All right, everybody, you got everybody, all the links going and running?
Say that again?
You got all the links going?
No. No. I'm still trying to get the LIT television stuff going on here. So trying to get this on and popping. I got too many things running.
Oh man, look. You got a lot now.
But I'm ready to go.
You ready to go?
Yes, sir.
All right, Shooting the Breeze conversations with a DJ. Yours truly, Ely, in the house, and my man over there is Lorenzo Ice-T Thomas. And it's Tuesday. And you're like saying, whoa. You guys do this every Thursday. Actually, we moved this one to Tuesday because the gentleman that we're about to bring on, his time was better suited for a Tuesday. And when we go through this man's resume, when he said he needs to go on Tuesday, we're going on Tuesday.
You're right about that.
We'll go on Tuesday.
You're right about that.
One of the cool things about, like we talk about, Lo, the folks that we bring on the show, 95% of the people we know personally.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. Keep you engaged. Well, we're talking about the gentleman that
bring him on, man. Let me get this thing set up right.
I see. I knew you were doing something over there because you are your mind is all over the place. Is it up and running?
No.
Okay. All right. So what I'm about to do is bring on the guest while Lorenzo's putting all that other stuff together. The gentleman that I'm about to bring on, I've known for decades. He's worked with some of the biggest. The most iconic stars that you have ever had as your favorite artist. And you say, well, who are these people? Well, we're not going to tell you right now. We're just going to get into it. So, ladies and gentlemen, you got to give it up to my good friend, Mr. Nat Martin. Nat, what's up, baby boy?
Hey, what's happening, Eric? How you doing? Lorenzo, what's going on, man?
What's up, Nat? How you doing, man?
My guys.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What's going on, brother?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're trying to do a little extra because you're on. Our intro is normally a little bit smoother than that.
Oh, well, I know, so, man. I know how it works.
We're launching different platforms, so you can't see if everything's working right until you actually go live. So,
engage, man, that's show business, right? That's how it works.
That's true. So, I just had to say, all right, I'm gonna cut with all the extra stuff so I can go ahead and focus on Nat Market. Welcome to the show, wow. Welcome to the show, Nat.
Thank you so very much. It's an honor to be here with you guys.
No, man, the honor is to have you on.
It's so funny because all three of us have known each other, like you said, Eric, for decades. And so it's a strange thing for me because usually I'm on the back end of this asking you guys, hey, can you interview my artists? Not being interviewed. You know what I mean? So it's a little awkward for me on this side of the equation, but I hope to be able to get through this without falling apart.
One of the reasons why we put this podcast together is to talk about or talk to the people that were in the background of some of the major artists that everybody loves today, have loved. And, and it was funny because you're not the only person that has gone on the show and said, you know what, for the most part, our relationship is we bring the artist to you for you to interview, not for you to interview us.
Right.
I think it's important to let everybody know that, you know what, the Beyoncés and the Jays of the world and the Biggies and the Chaka Khans of the world and the Princes of the world and the Michael Jacksons of the world couldn't be who they were if there weren't certain folks in the background pushing their music, their brand, helping them to navigate the markets and things of that nature. And we wanted to give you guys your flowers because you deserve them. Because I'm sure that they, as artists, they've given you many accolades and appreciations and thank yous. But we want to do it too.
Yeah, well, it is certainly appreciated, and I have to reciprocate that in saying that without the relationships that I've developed with yourself, Lorenzo, and music program directors and general managers and jocks and even receptionists at the radio stations over the years, my job would not have been possible. It was the relationships that I built. And like you said, Eric, they were in the beginning business relationships, but then they flourished into personal relationships.
Yeah.
And it's been a family, it's been a community of music. And again, like you said, there may be award shows that we attend and someone may mention your name and say thank you, but it's the folks like yourself, Lorenzo, and all of the folks behind the scenes that enable this music to be exposed and for fans to and consumers to enjoy.
Right. Well, let's go back to the beginning, man. What got you into the business?
Well, I tell you the honest truth, man. I really didn't know too much about the music business per se. I was a musician years ago as a teenager, and I was playing in bands, and I had, I guess, my rock star aspirations,
Right.
and so during that time, I started college, and actually, man, was playing my way through college, with a couple of different bands, and a lot of the guys I was playing with at the time, they were going out on the road with people like Chaka and Natalie Cole, but not me. I'm if anyone knows me, they know I am frugal. So, like I didn't see where it was financially beneficial for me to do that. Those cats were going to Japan and different places and playing with those artists. And I just stayed local and, played the local bands and the local scene and enjoyed myself there and was able to have a car and go to college and that kind of thing. Those
Right.
guys, man, they were real musicians. They would come home and catch the bus and so that wasn't for me. So that's how I initially thought about a record label, because I wasn't as good as those guys. I was in their bands and different things, but they were really good. They were on that professional level as far as musicianship is concerned, but I didn't feel that I was. I was okay at playing my instruments.
Okay, so you got me. You got me on this one because I didn't know it. So what instrument what you play?
I played bass. Yeah, okay. I mean, I played around with a lot of different things, but the bass was my baby, and so I played bass, and like I said, I played in different bands around the city of Washington D.C. and they called the DMV, Maryland area, and again, I was always a little bit more forward thinking and saying, man, how can I stay with this music thing and make a living at it? Because I'm not going to be able to make a living at it as a full-time musician.
Exactly.
So I went to the University of Maryland. Right up the street from there was RCA distribution, RCA Records distribution, which included RCA Records, A&M Records, Arista Records, whole bunch of subsidiaries. So to be honest with you, man, I just started going over there and knocking on the door and saying, hey, man, I'll work here for free. I'll intern. I was in school. I was making money as a musician.
Right.
And I started interning there. And one thing led to another. And I got a job with A&M Records as a college rep.
Okay.
And that entailed me going to the various colleges in the area and promoting all of the up and coming artists on A&M, which included even the Police at that time, Really? So yeah, man. So it was very interesting. I didn't know how that all worked, but I just, I would go to the college radio stations and take the music and talk to the program directors and stuff there. And that's how I learned. And then from there, I got a job with art, because it's all in one house. So it started with A&M Records as a college rep, and then I got a job with RCA Records in New York as a merchandiser. And basically what a merchandiser does, at the time there were record stores. So the merchandiser would go to the record stores and put up all of the different posters and displays in the record store and check product, count the product and make sure that they had the proper, there wasn't computers and stuff checking product, and you had to physically check it. So I did that in New York. So I would just be going all around all the different boroughs, Manhattan, Brooklyn, the Bronx, wherever, and going Harlem, going to all of the record stores and getting to know those people.
Right.
And from there, I became like a junior salesperson there. And then Virgin Records was starting a company here in the United States. They were very successful in the UK.
Okay.
And they were becoming the biggest independent record label in the world, but they didn't have an imprint, a footprint rather, here in the United States. So the person that was working at the RCA office in New York, Sharon Hayward.
Oh, Sharon.
Sharon, yeah.
On the show.
My big sister. I'm gonna make sure I shout her out.
Shout her out. Shout her out. We went to school with her daughter.
Yeah, Monique. Yeah. And let me tell you, I'll get to that in a second. But Monique, I love her too.
Right.
But so I was a merchandiser, and Sharon got a job with Virgin as a national director.
Right.
And one day I was congratulating her. I was like, hey, congratulations on your job. I know you're about to leave the, RCA here and you go out to Virgin and do your thing in LA. And she was like, hey, you want to go back to DC? Because that's my home,
Right.
Yeah. I was struggling in New York as a merchandiser financially. That was rough, but she changed things for me, man. She,
wow.
So I all love and credit to her for really changing my whole
life.
Yeah, that changed my life.
I think I remember when you were at A&M. I remember when you were there. Yeah. I do remember. And I remember you leaving there, going to Virgin. It was like a new day for you.
Yeah.
I think around those times who were some of the artists that you were working with at A&M? Or what were you pushing at the time?
I wasn't necessarily working with any artist directly because I was a merchandiser. So when they would come to the record stores, I would work with them. So it would be like a Jeffrey Osborne, people like that.
Mm-hmm.
They would come to the record stores. I would make sure that everything went well at the record stores. That was with the RCA in New York. With A&M, I was in DC. I was still in college, and I was working. I was just trying to do everything. I was working for A&M Records, going to school at the University of Maryland, working for ASCAP part-time on the weekends. So I was just trying to, like any young person, you're just trying to hustle to get in,
Right.
And it just happened to fall. Tevin, it just happened to fall where it went more on the record company side than it did on the PRO side, Now,
when you had A&M, was Jimmy there?
No, Gwen was there.
Okay.
Gerald Busby was there.
Gerald was there? Okay.
Gerald Busby was there. Gerald Busby was actually a national director for A&M when I was a college rep there. And it's so funny because, again, Lorenzo just mentioned something about, the artists. Like, I wasn't working at that time with Janet Jackson, but I was working the merchandise. So I was putting up her displays and different things like that. I remember her coming in the office when she first got signed, and they were, and everybody's making a big deal, because I think at that time she was still on Good Times or something. She was young.
Mm-hmm. She was still Penny. She was still Penny.
Still Penny. And the first project she had didn't do well at all. On
on
A&M. But when they went and got
she had Loving My Best Friend. That's the album with her with her hair slicked back.
Yeah, that didn't do well. But then when Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis came in,
that's when it changed.
That changed it. Yes.
So that young lady right there.
That's her. That picture was taken at BET.
Right.
You know, she was actually, that's when I was at Virgin Records. She was actually on Virgin at that time because she had signed like one of the biggest music deals at that time and came over to Virgin. And so we were working the project. I think it was just called Janet. It had the hands over top of her, you know.
That's the best album ever.
Yeah, so I think
we all wanted to be that dude.
Absolutely.
That was her husband, or
that was her husband. Yes. He was actually there during that time. He was traveling with her. So interesting. He seemed like a very nice guy. I didn't really get to know him, but you know, he seemed like a really nice guy. He was very professional. He was actually in the background taking pictures and doing all kinds of, you know, stuff that like a manager sort of would do, even though I don't know if he was officially her manager, but he definitely was involved in her business.
And everybody had no idea that was her husband.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Jenny won't let nobody know she married.
I didn't either. You know, what's interesting is that I didn't know. You know, I just, you know, I'm not a nosy guy anyway, so I was like, well, you know, I gave him his due respect, and that was it. And what's interesting, man, that same year right there, I was fortunate enough to go to Janet Jackson's Malibu house. They had a dinner because I was involved with BET, and you know, the guy standing next to me, his name is Tony. He was the publicist for Virgin, but because he was based in LA, I was in DC where BET was located at the time.
Right.
I did a lot of the leg work, footwork. We worked together, you know, and so it was a point where they invited Bob Johnson from BET and Mr. Johnson from Jet Magazine out to Janet's house for a dinner, and I was they were gracious enough to invite me, and I was thrilled, man. I was, you know, wow. I'm telling you know, hey, I'm going to Janet Jackson's house, you know.
I got a question. Was Vito there too?
Huh?
Was Vito there?
No, Vito probably was young during this time. Vito came to Virgin, I think, at like maybe about 10 years after this picture.
The only reason why I asked, because Vito did the show before, and that was the move he made in there that got him fired.
Hey, man, that's a dangerous move
at the house. I was
that's a dangerous move. You know that. Hey, you know, there are lots of cardinal sins in the music business if you are trying to be a music executive.
Right.
Don't fool with the artists, man. Don't step to them. You know, they are gorgeous. Just keep it all professional.
For the folks that didn't see the episode with Vito, it's on YouTube. He'll tell the whole story about being at her house and with the music industry and the groups.
So you're saying that he tried to make a move on her?
No, he didn't try to make a move. I
misunderstood.
I think he was trying to get an autograph for somebody, or it was something crazy he was doing. It was like, yo, Vito, did you do that for real? And I'm pretty sure we got to go back and look at it. Go to YouTube, check us out. It's at Combo. Matter of fact, if you're checking us out right now, do us a favor, be a part of the show. You can drop a comment, ask any question. We do this each and every, usually Thursday, but we're doing this Tuesday because we got a very special guest, my man Nat Martin. Got a host of pictures we got to get through because he has worked with some of the most iconic folks that has ever done it. So at Combo with the DJ on Twitter as well as Facebook, if you're there, hit the share button, hit the like button. We would love for you to be a part of the show. Now let
me come in right here, E, for a second. Now, Vito, he says he he got fired, right? That's what he said, right? He got fired because of some of the stuff he did, right?
He did something crazy at that dinner or something at Janet's house.
Okay, good. Well, see, I gotta ask Nat this because it's gonna lead to something. It's gonna go somewhere.
Hey man, I don't know what he's gonna say, Nat.
No, but Nat's right here with me now. Let's say, for example, if Vito did a little something. What if one of us, the DJs, you're bringing, the artists to us, would have tried to step to a Janet Jackson, try to get her number? What would have been the consequences for us?
Nothing. She would have graciously, I'm sure, been nice, and all of that, but it might have reflected on whoever was her rep at the time.
That would have been you, right?
Maybe me or whoever, because it's business. As much as the entertainment business and the music business seems like it's all fun and games, it's very serious.
Oh yeah.
And even in that picture that you just showed, right? There was an incident that happened years ago where that first single off of that album,
Joni Mitchell Never Lied.
Was it That's the Way Love Goes?
That's the way love
anyway,
goes.
there was fierce competition at the time between BET and MTV.
TV, yeah.
And someone in our office accidentally sent the video, because videos were a driving force at that time, just like TikTok is now, right? But music videos were the driving force behind most artists in their careers. And there was fierce competition between BET and MTV, and someone in the office sent the video to MTV first. And BET, the higher ups at BET were super upset about that, and so upset that they asked to have a meeting with, well, first of all, they demanded that whoever sent that video out be fired.
Yeah. I
And
remember.
but the president of our company, God rest his soul, he just passed away. His name was Phil Corderero. He was a straight up good guy. He protected his people. I loved him, man. I love that guy. Okay. And he didn't fire her. But what he did instead was he flew into DC, and Tony, who you see in that picture, and myself, we went over to meet with the higher ups at BET, because that was a big deal to them. They did not like that. And so that's why I say, although it seems like it's fun and it seems like, it's such great times. It might be great times to other people, but the reps are under, and the executives are under, a tremendous amount of pressure. And any small infraction, like I've heard that sometimes, I think one time maybe, and I don't want to get too much into this because I don't really know, but this is what you hear about working in the company. Right. But I hear that at one point, they sent Janet's merchandise. They didn't have Janet's merchandise ready for her first show. The manager.
Okay.
That's big. That's big stuff. You know what I mean?
Because I want to buy a Janet's shirt. We ain't got none.
That could result in hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost revenue.
Right.
This is the music business. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to dwell on Janet, but I'm just saying, we want to chop it up because people want to know. I mean, because people think it's fascinating. Because I would get people say, "Man, I saw that. Man, I had no idea that this stuff was going on." And I remember a lot of times back in the day, they would always tell you the music business is 10% music, 90% business. 90%. In most cases.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, man. I try to tell the young people that present demos and stuff to me all the time that, so what, you're talented. I sounds cold and crazy.
Get off my lawn.
But at the end of the day, man, over 90% of the music that's released never makes money.
True.
And that is a business. That's the reason why the record labels exist, to make money. Right. So if the three of us put pots and pans together and we go on TikTok and it takes off, we're going to get a record deal.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Shout out to Heart Attack. He's always in the
man. Oh, that's my boy, Heart Attack. Hey, man.
Hey, Heart Attack here every week. I love
another true good brother, soul brother. I love him, man. He is always taking care of me. Has always been with me through thick and thin. Great radio guy. I can't say enough good things about Heart Attack.
Oh,
you know, even today, I send him stuff today. Hey Nat, what you think? I like it. I'm gonna put it on. Great Heart Attack. I love it. Thank you. So no big love to Heart Attack.
Yeah, he's definitely doing his thing over at the Norfolk State radio station. So big shout going out to Heart Attack. But the reason why I asked that question, Nat, because if it was not for you, I would not have my iconic interview with Janet Jackson.
Oh yeah, now there you go.
So you remember where? See, I have a picture. I didn't get this to Eric in time where I had to come to Janet as opposed to Janet coming to me. I came to where Janet was, and we had a one-on-one, and you were there. You know, it wouldn't happen with I don't know if you stayed in the hotel room for the entire interview. But, you know, as far as I was concerned, it was just Janet and I in there. And that's when I had my Lorenzo collection clothing line. You remember that?
I do.
Get one?
Yeah. Oh, what? So basically, this is when I had my recordable DAT. So therefore, I had my with one microphone and a recordable DAT. So I had the DAT. So of course, you know, I'm going to sit right next to Janet Jackson. So she's sitting right here, and I have the microphone, and I'm going back and forth like this. So she's like right here. She's right here, and in the interview, she's eating strawberries. And I just happened to take the strawberry, Nat's there, and we start actually flirting with each other about, you know, the strawberries. So I'm like, Janet, I don't remember you talking about any strawberries. She's like, why, Lorenzo? You want to get to the sensual part of it? And I just like, right here. And I just like lose it, like, oh my goodness. I'm doing the strawberries, and I start stuttering. And so on and so forth. So I fed her, dipped it in, and fed it. I fed Janet Jackson strawberries. And
there you go. That's your story, man. That's right.
So basically, at the end of the interview, this is where I would come to the interview, or when I would always have gifts for the ladies because I had the Lorenzo collection.
Right.
So I'm going through the bags and I'm handing Janet one of my shirts, and she's like, "Oh my God, I'll have your name all on my chest." And I'm like, "Oh my goodness, Janet, can you say that again?"
Right.
And then I had one of these keyholes, like a keyhole shirt, where, of course, you know, Janet always likes to have her bustier pushed up, and it wasn't her size. So I said, "Oh, I won't give you this one because it's not your size." And she's like, "No, Lorenzo, I would love to have that one. Can I have that, please? Please, can I have that?" And it's like to have Janet just ask you for anything, I was like, "Oh, of course, Janet," and gave that to her. But I had the interview.
I love it. I love it. And that actually makes my job a lot easier because. You know what? The moment she made that personal connection with you, my job is easy from that point. Hey, Lorenzo, listen, man, I got a new record on Janet, man. Can you listen to it?
Absolutely.
We played it. Whatever it was. I think was that the Velvet? You remember what album that was? It was the Velvet Rope album. Oh my goodness, that was that one. That was a good one. It was about. And then I have a picture with her and I. We're in the hotel room. So when people see me you don't never see someone in the hotel room with the artist. So it was in her hotel room. So I have that picture of her. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I'm sticking to it, baby.
I'm happy for you, man.
It's because of you. It's because of you.
I'm glad I was able to help facilitate that.
I didn't get one of those interviews, but Nat, shout out to Nat because, man, I swear, I had a fun time in the music industry, and part of being in the music industry, when you're in the good graces of some of the record labels, they have really nice tour jackets.
Yes,
and
sir.
that Janet tour jacket.
Yeah, man.
Thank you so much, Nat.
Yes, sir.
Because I had that, and it had my name on it,
yeah.
and Janet on the side.
Yeah.
And this was a signed card that came in there.
No,
Eric, thank you.
That's so cool.
Love
man.
Janet.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh, you showing off now. You showing
No,
off.
no, man. You know what you have an interview. I raised your interview.
I'm going to
your
try
interview.
to
I raised you a card with a signature.
No, man. I got to pull up the interview right now, man.
Hey, no, but let me tell you what's crazy about this, though. Because this is the only thing that I have. I talked about the jacket, my Def Jam jacket, my Janet Jackson jacket.
Yes,
I had jackets and they were all stolen.
Oh man, those is so
all
funny
stolen.
Because when
with my name on it. Why would you walk around with my name
everybody, I don't care who you are, man. Everybody loved those jackets, man. You know, the different coats and jackets.
Yeah. I had bust.
Man, and you just like, and I remember getting my first one, man. I was like, I wore it everywhere, like places I wasn't supposed to wear it because I just was so happy to get one. You know what I mean? So
I remember when Janet went on tour with Tony, because Tony opened up for. Right. I had rocked my Janet Jackson jacket, the tour jacket. People thought I was with Janet.
Yeah.
You were Janet? Well, no.
Yep.
Then somebody would rat me out and say, "Oh no, that's Eric from the radio station." You probably go on stage though.
Hey man, yeah. Listen, you know what you guys, I'm sure know, and maybe your audience does not know, is that you guys were kings.
We were
all
right. We were all right back then.
So the label people, the record people, the artists, they wanted you guys to be happy. Right. Because again, if you flip it back to the business aspect of things, when I would come to see you guys at the radio station to solicit my product, I got 10 other labels right there next to me. You know what I mean? Okay. And they got great product too.
Yeah.
You know, so any competitive edge,
right,
is helpful. So if you guys come to the concert, you know, the artist wants to make sure that you feel good, you feel comfortable, because you are their way of exposing their music and building their career. And it's personal. It becomes personal, but it's business. Like, that's good business. And it's just very disappointing a lot of times when you do work with artists that don't understand. They're not on that level to understand that being polite and being gracious and wanting to work with radio is an important component to success. You know?
So how you say it? It's you in the office. Got Janet, Bo got Mary J. Blige,
right?
Washington,
Everybody,
and there's only one spot for the record to go in.
Right. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, shucks, I don't know, Bo and I might ride over to the radio station together. Right? When we get there and we get it out, hey man, listen, I got, you know, Bo might have I got New Edition, man. I might come in there, hey, I got Soul to Soul. 2 great records. What you gonna do? You know, so it's competitive. I mean, we're friends.
Yeah, and
we talk all the time, all the time. But you know, it's like sports. You know what I mean? Like you got to get out there and perform every week. You gotta deliver those numbers, because you get on those conference calls with your bosses. And their bosses, they report to them, and those numbers got to be right. You know, you got to have those radio stations coming in order to drive drive those numbers, drive those chart numbers to and all of it's connected. Good chart numbers means that they can go on the road. They have an audience. You know, being exposed through your radio station means that listeners know what the song is when they get there. Right. You know, so you don't have so they can get booked in the first place. So it's all interconnected.
Yeah. Good. Shout out to my man, Gil. Thanks for checking us out. One of our Trojan brothers, Low. So Virginia State always checking in. Thanks for checking in. Of course, we are On Shooting the Breeze Conversations with the DJ, we got the great Nat Martin in the place. We just talked about Janet. I mean, Janet is okay. I mean, she's a superstar, but before there was ever a Janet, I mean, there was this lady, Chaka Khan. Chaka Khan. You work with another diva, another voice, Chaka Khan.
Yes, sir.
How was you working with Chaka? No, hold on. I got to set this up first.
Okay.
So Lorenzo, I'm talking to Nat yesterday. He said, "Man, did you get the pictures?" I said, "Yeah, I got the pictures, man. Some great stuff, man. You going? That's man, some good stuff." He said, "Man, I just realized as I was going through my pictures, I worked with Chaka Khan." I said, "Hold on. You just realized that you forgot that you worked with Chaka Khan?" He said, "I work with so many people. I just saw the picture. I was like, that's right. I did work with Chaka Khan." So let's talk about the lady that you just kind of remembered about yesterday. How was you working with the great Chaka Khan?
Okay, well, hopefully I can clean that up a little bit, Eric. I tell you, man, like when we were talking the other day, and I was saying to you that, I've been doing this for a long time, man, and it's like it has been so many artists over the years, and I know this sounds really strange, but there have been so many artists that now I'm reminded just by everywhere I go. If I go to the grocery store, I hear songs that I work. If I ride in the car, I hear songs that I work. If I go to the amusement park, I hear songs and artists that I've worked with. Wherever I go,
supermarket.
The supermarket. Yeah. Anywhere I go, man, I hear artists. I hear the song, and it's, oh yeah, I work with that artist. I work with that artist. It's funny because when you were like, "Hey man, I need a few pictures," and I was like, "Oh well, of course, the Quincy's and the different people come to mind," but Chaka, hey man, that should have been one of the first people to come to mind because growing up, man, I was the typical young man who had Chaka Khan on my wall. I had her posters on my wall. Oh, yeah. I thought she was phenomenal, and even as I guess. In some ways, man, I've always had a calling, I guess you could say, to do this type of work because when I was a teenager, man, I found out where I didn't know at the time, but the promoters of these shows, I found out where the promoter of shows in my area, in the DC area, would house, where they would stay, where they would put the artists up. Okay. And so once I found that out, man, I started the artists that I wanted to meet. I would go there at like 14, 15 years old. I would go there and just hang around at the hotel. So I met so many artists, man, like Chaka Khan. I remember going to the hotel and her and Rufus, they were just in there playing pool. I just went over in the corner and I sat there and they spoke to me and I spoke to them and that was fine. You know what I mean? Or Earth, Wind, and Fire, who I work with. I remember going, my best friend David and I going to the hotel because once I found out where they would keep them, when I found out a concert was in town, I said, "Oh, I'm gonna go over here to this hotel because I know they're gonna keep them there." And I remember my friend David and we would go up and down the hotel elevators, and all of a sudden we would hear the horns. Da 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 da. Oh, they're on this floor. And then we would just wait around, and then here comes Maurice White or Verdine White, and we'd meet them. And so I guess I was a groupie before groupies were.
I take it you at BET because I see Donnie Simpson in the background.
Yeah, Donnie, that's my man. Donnie has been a really good guy to me, man. It's funny because when I first started working, Donnie, he was at Video Soul as well. And Video Soul was filmed in Virginia. That's before they had their big studio, they built a big studio. And it was just a small little area, man. And I would take my artists over there and Donnie would interview them. And, and then it became to a point where, once they got the bigger facility and I started taking, artists, like I'm going to stay with the women for now. I would take Paula Abdul there.
Hold on,
I would take all of those different artists there, man. It just, you know, Donnie was always gracious, always a good guy, supported me both at his radio station as program director and at BET. So
I see you walking. I see you got the Chaka album. Is that the 12-inch, the full album, and the CD?
Yes, sir. That's how you roll back in the day. You had the 12-inch, you had the album, you had the CD. Because when I come to see Eric or Lorenzo, they might say, "Man, I want to play the CD. I don't want to play the album." Or, you know, you just want to make sure you had everything. You had the bio, you had pictures.
I wanted vinyl. I definitely wanted vinyl. That's for sure.
Everybody then you know, and don't talk about the DJs because then they might want you know, like a just an acapella version.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Hey, I want to mix this with something, you know. So yeah, you know, like Heart Attack. That would be Heart Attack, man. And what
that's Heart Attack. Version? That's Heart Attack. We want the vinyl, baby, because he in the club. Mm-hmm. He's spending that Friday night.
Right.
He's spending that Friday night.
Yeah, I think this picture was taken early in the morning. You can see by all of our faces. This was like, and you know, see, and that's the other thing too. Like Donnie Simpson, it's a good segue of pictures because I think this was at KYS in DC, and it was early, man. It probably was like 4:30 in the morning. But you know, Donnie Simpson
goes on at 6.
Yeah, so you know, those artists got to wake up.
You said in the NBC building, right? When it was in the NBC building? Yes, That looks like the hallway. That looks like the hallway. It definitely does.
Yeah.
Because when I got at KYS, they were still in the NBC building before they moved their studios over to Lanham.
Right.
That was a huge studio.
Right. At that time, they were owned by NBC, and then Kathy Hughes bought them. Radio One. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, folks, you are tuned in to Shooting the Breeze Conversations with the DJ with yours truly, E. Lee, and my man Lorenzo Ice-T Thomas. And our guest tonight is Nat Martin. We talked about Janet, you know, little Janet Jackson. Before there was a Janet, it was Chaka Khan. Come on, man. I mean, that's how it go. Yeah. Before there was a Chaka Khan. I mean, who could we be talking about as before Chaka Khan? Man, oh man, I know I got the picture somewhere because I pulled it up. Where is she? Did I not put it in? Oh, you know what? Hold on to that thought. We're gonna come back to that thought. But I mean, you were some of the biggest artists, and we're gonna go. You already brought her up. I mean, she was Laker cheerleader, Miss Abdul.
Paul Abdul.
Paul Abdul. Okay. How was it working with Paula?
It's interesting, man. I mean, Paula and I became friends, man. You know, like because when she was first signed to Virgin, nobody wanted to play her records.
Really?
So yeah, man. So it's funny because that's a picture with Donnie, but I think that might have been on his birthday. I think that might have been on Donnie's birthday that picture was taken. But in the beginning, I remember, and Donnie's probably going to kill me by saying this, but I remember scheduling an interview for her at BET.
Right.
And I said, Donnie, you know, I got a new artist. Her name is Paula Abdul, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I said, man, I really need you to do me a favor. And, you know, can you please, you know, have her on your show? And, yeah, Nat, I got you, man, no problem. And so the day we showed up, he was out sick. And that kind of set the whole promo tour off on that type of path. I mean, I remember going to see my good friend Butter in Philly, and just everything went wrong, man.
Butterball. Wow. Yeah.
And you know, again, a legendary radio guy.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Everything possible went wrong, man. You know, nobody was feeling her. And I don't know, man, maybe I shouldn't say this either, but you know, like at the time we released 2 singles. The first single we released was a song called Knocked Out. And
that was a good record.
Yeah, man. And I, you know, again, I thought it was, and we did I put together a campaign because at the time it was Mike Tyson was fighting Michael Spinks. and Atlantic City was part of my market. So I put together a promotion where, 2 winners, you know how this stuff goes. 2 winners, right. winner all expense paid trip to
the good old days.
Yeah, man. Atlantic City to see the Mike Tyson fight. And because the song was called Knocked Out, and so we did a big promotion nationally, and we had 2 winners. We flew them in. They had a great time, and they had a great time, and it was a good thing. And so eventually Paula's career started to build, but now I don't know this for sure, but it was my impression that they weren't going to renew Paula's contract.
Really?
And I begged Sharon. I said, Sharon, please put this song out.
Was there a video to Knockout?
Yes, I believe so. It's been so long because I think Babyface produced that song.
Wow.
Yeah. But, eventually, man, her career came around. And again, this picture, I believe, was after her career had, took off, right? And BET sent, now remember, the first time we went, nobody was there to greet us. And some substitute person did an interview that they never even aired. Right. After her career flourished, after about a year later, after she blew up, BET sent 2 limos to pick us up.
Not one?
Not one. Two. We didn't need 2 limos. So we had bought a birthday cake for Donnie. So we put the birthday cake in the other limo. And we went to BET, and it was crowds of people out front waiting to see her and cheering and all of that stuff. So it's just funny, man, like how
and she was almost dropped.
She was almost dropped, man. And so it's just fun. And then she went on, of course, to do American Idol and all of that stuff. But it's just funny, man. It's just strange anyway, because I would say probably hundreds of artists that I've worked with, but only a small fraction of them have made it. And I can't tell you what that special ingredient is that, just that hit song is really the special ingredient. They have a hit song, and that changes everything. Because I've worked with so many talented people that were signed to the different labels that I've worked at, and for some reason it didn't click, man. I remember a couple of years ago, I was looking at one of my old T-shirts, man. I worked this project called A Thin Line, this movie soundtrack called A Thin Line Between Love and Hate.
Martin Lawrence.
Yeah, Martin Lawrence. Yeah, man.
Lynn Whitfield. Lynn Whitfield.
Yeah, man. We had a movie screening out in LA.
Out in Palm Springs, or was it in?
Yes, sir.
Palm Springs. Yep, I remember that. I remember that.
Yes, sir.
Yep, I was there. I was there.
All you guys out for that. And what's funny, man, I looked on the back of that T-shirt. There had to be like 20 artists that were on the back of that T-shirt. And I don't think maybe one of them
still around.
Still around. It's crazy, So
well, I get it now. I think I'm all teed up now, because we talked about Janet,
right?
And before there was a Janet, there had to be a Chaka.
Oh, one quick thing though. Okay. Guess who Paula Abdul opened up for on her first tour?
Janet. Who?
Was it Milli Vanilli?
Milli Vanilli?
Oh my!
Well, it's true. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I love you.
Yeah, shout out to my man Bill Petaway. He's from the area. He wrote that song. Him and I think Kevin Lyles.
Kevin Lyles.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
That trivia. Like,
so they knew they were faking it.
No, not Kevin Lyles and no. I think they had put that song out on their own.
Yeah.
And they, like Kevin Lyles and those guys, I think they were in a group or something together.
Kevin was in a group. Kevin was in a group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think so. Before he became a record guy.
Yeah,
and they had put that record out. It did okay or something like that. And somebody over in Germany or something heard it and redid it. I think. Oh
my goodness!
Y'all, you got to fact check me on that one, but I think that's how. And that's how they got.
Okay, that's cha-ching, cha-ching.
Okay, they've been making money a long time, man. Making money.
Oh man, I know where all the bones are buried. You know, a lot of my friends are like,
they
remember that. I do.
Heart attack.
Heart attack. I don't want to talk about him because I definitely know.
But that was the name of the group, Neutron. That was the name of Kevin's group, Neutron.
Oh yeah, Heart Attack and I, man, have had some good long nights at the club while he's DJing and acting crazy. So I'm not gonna get into Heart Attack.
No, let's get into, because that's a part of my journey. You know, yes. I was fortunate enough that I worked in the Mid-Atlantic region, almost on any place you had to stop. I
had to stop. You know, from down in Norfolk to Baltimore, everywhere you would go at to BT, everywhere you were working, I was there. Let's say, Lorenzo, man, listen, I got another record, man. Can you listen to it for me?
Definitely, but it was all about relationships there. But in that era, when Heart Attack and I were at Wowie, I mean, Heart Attack had the clubs on lock between. You know, Club David's, where we did the live broadcast from, and Club David's was like the club that had the boxing ring in the middle of the club, and then had the girls in cages. In the cages, and then you had
cages.
Yeah, for real. Yeah,
they do that no more.
and I would get in there and dance with them too. You know, so
I always look at it, and I'm sure if some of the older reps are on now, they would agree with me. I always love WOWI, man. I love going there. You guys were the dream team, man. Steve Crumley is a program director, Heart Attack music director. You on there, Big Spoken Tony on there. Just everybody, man. Everybody. I like superstar jocks in every position, man. Like a well-oiled sports machine. Team. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. And I would be driving in and listening to it, man. You guys would be playing all the newest music. I said, "Oh shucks," you know that's the kind of stuff that gets people excited. You know,
that's radio station.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. No politics, man. I ain't got to beg a dude. Oh, can you listen to it? And nah, man, dude telling me about.
We gonna play it.
Yeah, he telling me, hey, I love this new whatever it is. I love it.
Right.
Oh, this is just gonna be a nice little trip for me to the beat.
Right. We wanted to set the standard at Wowie. We wanted everyone to check our station and our playlist to see what records we were breaking. You know, and I've worked at quite a few radio stations, and I always tell everyone Wowie was the best radio station that I have ever worked for. That station, like you said, was like a fine-tuned machine. And we got to give a shout out to, you know, cool DJ Law, rest in peace.
Oh, yeah, man.
Holiday.
Yeah. Oh, my man. Oh, boy.
Yes, Chase, Commander-in-Chief of the Bass, you know. And then, of course, the Rick Parties, the Albie Silks, Stan Barrett, who is on Sports Center, you know. So all of us.
I didn't know that.
Stan was the morning show guy.
Yeah, he did mornings with Chase.
Yeah.
And Carol Wilkinson. Mm-hmm.
Now you see him on ESPN every night.
Right. Candy Eastman, who is now in Houston. She's been doing it. And a big shout going out to Ray Rilla, Tony Brown. We were on the phone for about 2 hours ago. Bajo, who does the reggae show. All of us. Karen Vaughn, another one. You know Karen Vaughn. She's a Wowie jock. So, you know, there was so many that came through there during that time, but it was all about, we were in the streets, we were in the clubs, and Heart Attack was the heartbeat of having all of us that were coming from different parts of the country that would come to Norfolk, and he would embrace us all and like, hey, this is where you got to be. You know, I mean, you got to be at this club. You have to be here. I got there as soon as I walked in the door. I'm hosting a radio show. Hosting a video show on TV. As soon as I got there, I'm like, what? They gave me a video show. So it was just so much. And then big shout, Eric. I think you played with us, the 103 Jams flag football team. Did you play?
Yeah, I would come
to
team.
We had a flag football team that placed 24th in the state. Yeah, we yeah, man.
Yeah, we
was a problem.
I think. Yeah, we were all right, man. And then I started playing for our station up in Richmond, and we were running up to state champions and then national champions. So that's when I was athletic. That's when I was athletic.
I love that whole Virginia run, man. Coming into Richmond and seeing you guys and Aaron, and it's just like, oh man, just so good, man. Just such great memories.
I mean, when you walk around, when you have all those hits, you walked around, man, and you, like I said, Janet and Chaka and this lady right here.
Oh,
before there was a Chaka, there was Anime.
Is Anime. Pat Hall? Is that Pat Hall?
Yep.
That's that.
Oh,
yeah. Rest in peace. And she was a beautiful lady, man.
Yes.
Inside and out, man. She just was so sweet. You know what I mean? And she was a great music director at HUR.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's you with
Miss
anime.
Yeah, man.
Eat cake, man. Yeah. Eat cake.
Eat that cake, man.
I mean, as we look at, I mean, like we were, you had some middle of the road artists, some really good artists, and you got icons. Tina, Chaka, Janet. You don't have to give those last names out. Right. That's how iconic they are. I say Janet.
It's funny, man. We would be walking somewhere, and people would almost faint when they saw Tina Turner. They would just like go crazy, man. And it's so funny because when I first started working with her, she was quiet, and she was quiet, and I didn't know how to figure that part out. And I was just like I would ask her questions, she would just answer me. You know what I mean? And then, after a while, she started to, warm up. And then I started to warm up because I got a lot of things I need her to do, So I'm like, Tina, can you come over here and take a picture with Eric? Can you take an interview with Lorenzo? Can you do this? And blah, blah, blah. And so it eventually got to a point where I would just turn to her and she said, okay, Nat, what is it now?
Okay, so y'all
I need to go in here and sit with the show manager for a minute, So it's so funny, man, because I think this picture was done when the movie was out.
What's Love Got to Do?
Yeah. And so I still don't know to this day what the truth is, right? But everywhere we went,
right,
and they said, so Tina, how do you like the movie? I mean, like it was just being released, right? And she said, well, I don't care too much for it. I haven't seen it.
Wow.
And I didn't understand that, man, because I'm like, okay, well, I know we're out to promote the record. We're not out to promote the movie. That's the first thing, right? But she would just be like, I don't know when I'm going to see it, or I don't, she had that kind of an attitude towards that movie. And we had the book, we were giving away the book as a promotional campaign, and there was a whole bunch of stuff around it. And I mean, just recently I saw a documentary, and it was saying how when she and Ike signed off on the movie, there was some kind of clause in there that the directors or whatever were allowed to, and please, anybody that's watching, you guys can fact check me because I don't know.
Right.
But I think what it was is that the movie people changed a lot of that around, and made Ike like a really, of course, the rumors were that Ike was a bad guy, but they really made Ike a bad guy for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Over dramatized.
Over
dramatized.
Yeah, because I can tell you this as a fact. As we were going from different cities, right? Now, back in the day, today you got, Instagram and TikTok and all the different social media platforms to promote music. But back in the day, they would stick a poster on the telephone pole and say, hey, you know, so-and-so is coming to town, right?
That was TikTok.
So I remember us going through some city, and there was a poster on one of the telephone poles. And I remember her saying, I remember Ike, whenever we would go to a city, Ike would check to make sure they were promoting our show. He would look for those posters. I said, that's interesting. She's talking about Ike, right? and then like it would be some guy, let's say, walking down the street and his pants would be hanging off of him, you know, like some of the younger people, you know.
Right.
And she said, I used to tell Ike, you know, sometimes he'd have his pants hanging down. I tell him, pull your pants up. And I was just like, I just thought that it was interesting that she was talking about Ike in that way.
Right.
Being that, from what I understood, he was not very good to her, right. You know? So. But
I mean, look, they got married, so she evidently loved him.
Yeah.
And was in love with him.
Right.
So, and stayed with him for a long time through a lot of it. So there had to be some good times as well.
Right.
You know, and she sits back and you see things that just automatically, I mean, come on, we all probably have exes and we just, you know, we could be watching TV and something will come on and bam, like, oh,
right.
I wasn't even trying to think about you.
Yeah. I swear, I wasn't trying to, as I reminisced about the Janet Jackson jacket, I remember who I took.
See, there you go.
You know?
There you go. Yeah. So I found that interesting, man. And, you know, it's funny because, again, it's a business, you know, and so we would go and do come see you guys at radio, go do retail, go do whatever, you know, TV interviews, all of that kind of stuff. And say at the end of the day or the next day, she would do a show and it would be sold out, like huge audiences, right? Mm-hmm. And then let's just say I would go to Philadelphia for a sales meeting, and I would be like, so, you know, Tina was just here in Philadelphia. So how did the numbers look? And the sales guys would say, oh, well, we sold a few copies. So it's interesting, you know what I mean? Because what looks like huge success in certain areas might not translate to sales. And so, and that especially applies to older artists. So as artists transition, you know, that discretionary income that teenagers say have, you know, an adult is trying to pay, you know, their car note or mortgage or put food in, they're not buying stuff. Right. You know, so it's a crazy kind of balance between dealing with a superstar and the amount of money that the record labels have to spend to promote that superstar and return on investment.
So I gotta let a couple of people in. But first, before we do that, let everybody know that y'all checking out Shooting the Breeze Conversations with the DJ. We usually do this on a Thursday. We're doing it on Tuesday because we got Nat in the house. So we're going to talk a little bit about this, a little bit about that. And we got some people that just said hi. Okay. You know that woman, Wanda Hayes?
I certainly do. That's my girl, Wanda.
Wanda was one of our first guests on the show.
Yes, of course. She's the queen. You
That's right.
The queen first, right?
That's right.
That's right. Hey, Wanda.
Hey, Wanda. Shout out to my man T Rice up in the
building.
Tony Rice.
What's happening? How are you, man? I have not seen Tony in years, man.
Hey, Tony, we got to get you on the show, Tony. We got to get you on the show, Tony. Hey, Tony, DM us your DM your phone number because you got to be on the show. And shout out to one of our coworkers, ex-coworkers.
Oh my God, Lisa.
Right, Lisa. Hey, Lisa. How are you, darling?
Lisa. Hey, look. You know what? I'm gonna tell the story, Lisa. I'm gonna tell it right now. Lisa would always give me. Lisa will tell the story because she give me hell about it. When she first did a job at CDX with us to do middays. I had to pick up from the airport. And this is back in the 80s. And when you bought a brand new car, air conditioning was well, actually not.
What? At CDX?
CDX when she did CDX.
It was a 90. Remember in the 80s?
I said 90s. I changed. I had to figure it out.
Oh, I was about to like, where you going?
I know, right? Anyway,
that's me.
And I think she came in and she started doing nights. She started at nights. I think she started at night first.
She started at nights. So
right.
Then she just put it in there.
There's a story that goes with that.
So
start again. I was talking on top of you, E. Start again.
I know. I want you.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me finish it. So Lisa, I had to pick Lisa up. Aaron said, "Hey, go pick up the new young lady that's coming in to be on air." I was like, "Okay, Lisa, all right." Cool. So back in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s, a car, brand new, air conditioning was optional.
Uh-oh.
I had air conditioning in the car. Lorenzo, that's why I was like, Lorenzo, we rode. It was so hot in our car. When we were coming back from Atlanta, the tape, because we had cassettes at the time, they melted in the back of the car.
Mm-hmm.
It was so hot when we were in Atlanta. So I'm going to pick up Lisa, and I didn't have air conditioning. She was like, what is going on? You see, you come up in I picked her up in my Nissan Sentra.
I've had those.
But I had a roof. But I had a roof. Sunroof.
And you can roll the windows down.
You can roll the windows down with your hand.
Yeah. I've had those types of experiences, man. I picked up a Regina Bell one time in my car, and the air it was working fine. I went to get my car checked, and when I picked her up, wasn't with my truck. When I went to pick her up, it was not working, man. And her manager, they gave me hell.
Really?
They were upset with me for a couple of days, man. But finally, I got it to work like the next day or something like that. It came and they finally, but that was a really bad first impression, man, is to be riding her around with no air conditioning.
And it's hot. In the summertime, in the mid-Atlantic.
So Lisa, I understand.
Nat, I want to thank you for something else.
Yes, sir.
Y'all, because part of being in the like you said, in the music industry, having those great relationships, and we got great relationships, guys give you stuff like this. Now you see all of those things in the background, those records?
Yes, sir, I do.
This is the one that Nat got me.
Oh, right. Yeah, man.
He's showing off. See, he's showing off, Nat, because of my eating Jackson strawberry.
That's right. Show it off, man. That's what it's for, to show off.
Show it off, baby. Show it off. Who's paying with that thing?
Yep. Yes, sir. That's right. That's right, man. I got mine too. Yep. Okay. Exact same one. Yep.
Hey, you know what was funny though? Everywhere I move, one of the things I haven't moved in a while, but when I was moving around from Florida to Virginia to Atlanta,
right.
One thing I always keep, all of my plaques.
Right.
Yeah.
Didn't keep my jacket, and you see what happened.
Right.
They got stolen.
Right.
Kept all my plaques.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's so much emotion tied up into those plaques, man. And again. I don't even know how to describe it, but yeah, man, I love my plaques, and I don't necessarily post them up anymore because I'm so old now. Young people.
Everybody, how old you are?
Yeah, like, who is that?
Who's Janet Jackson?
Who is that? So I kind of stopped. So yeah.
Okay, from what you don't know, Nat, and what Lorenzo knows, I've got hey, come here, man. Get up. Come on, get up in the shot.
All right.
That's what's making all the noise in the background.
All right, now.
You got his squeaky toy.
Yeah, man.
Stop, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Stop.
He's like, E, this is Tuesday. You're not supposed to be doing this today.
I know, right? That's Gatsby. The
all right, man.
The dog. Yeah, he's all right. He all right, man. People be like, man, where the dog at? You sit back here trying to fight me.
Hey man, dogs are your best friend. I mean, when everybody else let you down, your dog not gonna let you down.
That's true. That's true.
They are unconditional love. Yep.
Yeah. So now we talked about some of your iconic artists that you work with, but you also work with the most iconic producer that has ever.
You were on that tour too.
Tamia, along with Quincy Jones.
Yes.
So you were Q, the producer of Bad, no Thriller.
Yes.
Q. So how was it working with Q?
Oh man, just fantastic, man. You know, like and it's so funny because I remember working with him, and the first day he actually called my name, like Nat. I was like, oh my God, Quincy Jones knows my name. So it's just amazing. Now this right here was Q's juke joint.
Okay. Is that the one with
he's got everybody on the Q's juke joint is like where he sort of curates.
That wasn't Secret Garden, was it? That was Secret Garden wasn't on that one.
I think Secret Garden is on there. It's like all of these, I think all of these different artists are on there. Everybody's on there. He sort of like curated this album,
right?
And that was the Q's juke joint project. I think.
I'm
almost certain it is because at that time Tamia was just signed.
That's right.
To Warner.
To,
you put a move on my heart.
That was Put a Move on My Heart was a single.
That wasn't even out yet during this picture.
Okay.
What Quincy did was, he went out on tour with Q's juke joint, and he brought Tamia out on tour with him before they even released the project, so that she could get, a feel of the business, how things work, like you said, behind the scenes. So she's like about 18 right there, something like 18 or 19 right there.
Wow.
And it's just so interesting.
I don't know if y'all can see this picture.
Okay, I see Q. Oh, Antonia.
That's it. It's the same tour. That's the same tour. So you brought her by. Yep, the same tour, and you brought her by Baltimore, and then you went to DC, or vice versa. But you brought her by there to see me too.
Yeah,
she had on a skirt. She had on I just remember she had on some Timbs, but she had beautiful legs. Yeah, she had Timbs and a skirt on, and she just walked in there like, you see it with the cap on and a jean jacket, like, yo, what's up?
Yeah, so interesting, man. Because she was such a little sweetheart at the time, man. And right before, like I said, we were going around with Quincy. That whole little group right there, man, is nothing but executives behind, like the taller guy behind Quincy. He was the president of Quest Records. Okay. It's a whole, and he was a good friend of mine too. Jim Swindell, rest in peace to Jim. He was at Virgin Records and was very, very supportive of me at Virgin. And then Quincy he was like a senior or executive vice president over at Virgin, and then Quincy hired him from Virgin to come over to Quest.
Okay.
And so when I moved from Virgin to Warner Brothers, we reconnected, and just a great guy, man. I just want to say a little something about him, but it's so funny. Quick story on that whole little group of people. Mm-hmm. We were in DC, so Quincy was, it's a lot of us there, right? So it was even more people traveling. So we had a tour, like a little mini tour bus. And so when we left there, we went to HUR, and once they finished the interview at HUR, we were over near the Howard Theater.
Right.
And so Quincy was like, hey man, isn't the Howard Theater close? And I was like, yeah. He said, let's roll by there. Well, at that time, the Howard Theater hadn't been renovated, so it was all dilapidated, like a dilapidated building. And so we went by the Howard Theater, and then Quincy was like, hey man, go down the alley there, because there used to be all the big jazz cats used to play at the Howard Theater. Right? said, man, make a right, go down the alley here, because we would come out of this door and go into the restaurant door. So we go down the alley, and it's all these crackheads and bums, and so we go down the alley, and Quincy's having all these memories. Oh man, I remember we played here with Lionel Hampton and blah blah blah, and then the crackheads and the bums like, what the F are they doing? This ain't no effing tour. I was like, oh boy. But he was having a great time reminiscing about our theater.
Right.
So
he was on the Chitlin circuit back in the day.
He was on the Chitlin circuit, man. So that whole Chitlin circuit, was like the Howard Theater in DC and different theaters in Baltimore, and just wherever the black musicians could play.
Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, if you remember Ray, he was the young Quincy Jones playing the trumpet.
Right. That's right.
That's right.
In that movie, he said he wasn't going down south. Right. Yeah. So he was playing the Chitlin circuits up on this end.
Yeah.
I just thought that was interesting, man. Like Quincy, of course, I tried to pick his brain as much as possible. And I remember at one point, and I said, so I was young at that time. I probably was at that time, I'd have been in my 30s, like early 30s. Right. And I remember I said, Quincy, man, listen, what is the best way for me to succeed in the music business? And he says, Nat, the first 30 years are the hardest. I said, the first 30 years? I'm only 30 years old.
He made Thriller when he was what, 50 something?
The first 30 years
was the hardest.
Wow. But yeah, man, he was full of advice, like we were talking about the promotional things before. I was like, oh yeah, no, we got street teams now, man. We don't do all that old stuff, Quincy. He's like, man, we did all that back in the day. You're not saying nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the old heads would always say, y'all ain't learned nothing new.
Right.
Y'all ain't done nothing new.
Right. So, it's just interesting, man, that, a guy that has produced Miles Davis, who's played with like Frank Sinatra, just
Ray Charles
Jackson. I mean, just Ray Charles was his mentor and friend. Just so much history, man. I mean, I was just always so appreciative to be able to work with him, man, and to work with him a lot. Like I work with him quite a bit, So,
but, I got a chance to talk to him before, and when he talked, I mean, when he speaks is almost like jazz.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, those cats. I was like,
yeah, that's how he would be talking,
He talked like he was singing. I mean, like he was an instrument himself. Yeah,
absolutely, man. Absolutely.
How you like the record, man? Yeah. I was like, okay, Quincy.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, but very, like it's funny, man, because when I first met him, of course, I had my ideas. I said, oh man, this dude, he's probably sophisticated, a little bougie, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Nah, man, he was a brother, man. He was like down to earth, just regular folks, so
right.
I enjoyed it, man. I enjoyed it, and I'm so thankful for that opportunity to have worked with him.
Is that Iris on the corner?
Yeah, no, that's Ardenia.
Ardenia.
Yeah.
I remember Ardenia because she was at Giant Records at one time.
Yeah. Well, at that time she was over with us at Warner Brothers.
At Warner.
Yeah, but she used to be vice president at Giant.
Right. I got my Color Me Bad back there from her.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, Giant had artists, they had like Christopher Williams. I worked with him, I don't even want to get into those stories, but
no. We're gonna leave look. I got every time.
We're not talking about Christopher. Not today. not after today. What he was saying on the Tom Joyner cruise.
Yeah.
Just yesterday.
Oh, really?
Chris
I don't know what he said, but I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised,
Yeah. He was like, "Don't come for me." But one thing I'll share. I don't know if I shared this story with you, E. But it's like it's going back to what we were saying about, hey, I'm sitting right here with Janet Jackson. Maybe I should try to get her number. You know what I mean? Maybe we can communicate and stay in contact. Right. Well, it's another situation. When Quincy Jones came through the studio, I was talking to him about my interest in acting, Eric. So here's one time where I should have been aggressive and asked for his phone number to stay in contact. Because at this time, we're going back. I'm in LA all the time. If it's not for a convention, I'm going out there doing BET's Video Vibrations, rolling out to LA, all these things. So I asked Quincy, I said, hey, man, I see Will Smith is doing his thing. And, I might want to, at this time, him and Will and I looked more alike than we do now.
Right. I
was like, and maybe I can be his, I could play his cousin. And Quincy said to me, he said, nah, man, you could play his brother. And he said, I said, oh, really? He said, yeah. I said, in fact, he's getting ready to start Westbrook Productions. So Quincy gave me the number and the address to Westbrook Productions. So when I went out to LA, I went out there to Westbrook and they said, man, we're just getting our studio started. Nothing's in place. Hey, if you got your demo, I had a demo at that time. Hey, leave it with us. But my problem was my follow-up. What I should have done, which I should have gotten Quincy Jones's number, say, hey, give me that information, but can I have your number? Closed mouths don't get fed. I just didn't want I felt like I was overstepping, my, I guess the requirements of my position. You see what I'm saying? So It's like, I don't want to come ahead. I don't want to ask for Quincy Jones's phone number. And he's going to Nat, hey, that DJ was asking for my phone number. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, but that was the situation where I sit back to this day. I'm like, man, if I had asked for Quincy Jones's phone number when I went out there,
it might have changed your life, man. I'm telling you, because when I look at like, I'll give you a quick example. That picture you just showed me with Quincy and Tamia. So Tamia came out on tour, right, and to promote her record and her project, and so Quincy came out with her, right. Mm-hmm. So during that time, I won't mention the rep from Quest Records' name, but we know him. Right. And he's a good guy. And so he was out from, I was on the Warner Brothers side and he was on the Quest side. Right.
Right.
And so we were, out going to see guys like yourself at radio, doing different things. Right. And during that time, he, he was just telling Quincy all of his ideas of what he thought should be going on at Quest Records. Next thing I know, that dude was general manager of Quest Records.
Shot is shot.
Right.
He shot his shot, man. And so what I'm saying is that if you think about Quincy, I think his like you said, the musical side of him, that feeling thing kicked in a lot. You think about Oprah. He broke Oprah. He broke Quincy. Mm-hmm. He broke you just mentioned him. Will Smith. I mean, he made stars of these people.
Right.
So, in some ways, I know one of the things in your questionnaire, Eric, you said, what are some of your regrets? That might have been one of my regrets, not saying, hey, man, I would love for you to, hey, can I do something at your label? Or can you sign one of my artists? Or, sometimes you like Lorenzo said, you don't seize the opportunity because you feel like, well, I don't want to overstep my position or
exactly.
But
if you do go too far, how does that how does that affect our relationship? You see what I'm saying?
Yes. A guy like that can change your life.
Morris Baxter said no regrets, bro.
Morris! What is Morris? What's going on, man?
He's doing morning for the jazz show, WCLK.
Oh, my man.
In Atlanta.
Morris.
No, hey, look, I go to auditions and I look around, I was like, is that Morris Baxter? I said, man, I can't do no voice work with Morris Baxter doing voice work with the pipe that brother got.
I'll tell you, man, that all of these names and people bring back such great memories, man.
Hold on, let me throw another memory at you.
Yes.
Here we go. Where'd he go? That was one of the kindest and most accommodating.
Oh, that's my Mickey Spencer.
And then she blew the kiss at you.
Oh, that's my sweetheart, Mickey Spencer. Let me tell you a quick story about Mickey Spencer, real quick. Okay. I can't remember the station. Mickey can tell you.
WKIE?
It must have been KIE. I went down there with an artist one time, and it was only a few people working at the station. And I said, Mickey, I want us to go out to lunch or something like that. The whole station went out with us to lunch. The whole station went out to lunch. I can't remember the artist. I can't remember the year, but I remember that incident because I just thought that was hilarious that the whole radio station went out to lunch. I think maybe the engineer was there or something like that. But she is such a sweetheart. I mean, Mickey, oh boy, I would love to go see her. And, you know, she was always so embracing, and I just have nothing but wonderful things to say about her. You know, all of my radio people, but Mickey, I'm telling you, she was just a sweetie, and still is a sweetie. I haven't talked to her in a while, but she's a sweetheart. Yes.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, you tuned in to Shooting the Breeze Conversations with the DJ on a Tuesday night edition.
WKIE.
Yeah.
One of my homies just checked in. What's going on, Delton? Showing enough. The Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Y'all got a good squad this year, player.
Who's playing quarterback?
I know, right? Who's going to be playing quarterback? That's
Who's
right.
going to play quarterback?
I know, right?
Yeah.
And speaking of Quincy Jones, and, you know, we talked about Quincy, and he has a lot of proteges.
Mm-hmm.
This one was too, from what I was told. Where did it go? I just had it up here. Nat was joking. We were joking earlier about technology, and this one kind of almost got past me too. Okay, I swear. Oh, there you go. My bad. Another protege.
Yes, sir. Tevin Campbell.
Little Ted Campbell.
Little Tevin Campbell.
Listen to Russ Park.
As a singing little dude, man, he sang in the limo everywhere we went. Oh, he was singing and saying so much so, man, you could tell, you know, you could always tell people that were real singers. You know, I've been with some that weren't, you know, but you can always tell the real singers because they just sing all day long, man. He would just sing in the car, sing here and sing, just always singing other people's songs. I guess two quick stories to tell about Tevin Campbell. There was used to be a music convention in Virginia I think it was called the Bobby Poe Convention.
Okay.
And so I remember we were out really late doing something the night before, and whatever station we were listening to, they kept saying, "Oh, it's going to be a major snowstorm." And I hope Tevin's not listening to this. I mean, it's not that embarrassing. Right? And so he was like, "Hey, if it's a snowstorm, I'm not going to radio tomorrow." I was like, "Tevin, we're not doing that, bro."
tell him that.
We have Eric and Lorenzo mad at me. We're not doing that. No, man, if it's snowing tomorrow, I'm not going. So the next morning, it was like maybe a 1/10 of an inch of snow on the ground, right? The limousine is outside of the hotel waiting on us. And I'm calling his room and no Tevin, right?
You done lost Tevin Campbell.
I done lost Tevin Campbell. But I knew it was. He figured it was snow outside. So at the time, his mother was his manager.
Okay, all right.
I called his mother.
Hey, where your son at?
Where he at?
Where he at?
Where he at? So about 10 minutes later, he came down the lobby. He didn't speak to me. He got right in the limo.
Oh, he got salty.
He didn't speak to me the entire day.
He got salty because you have to go out in the snow. Come on, Tevin.
He was mad at me, man, because he didn't want to go out. I mean, I guess he was tired, and you know, like it was a lot. But see, that's the thing, man. You know, like when you become a recording artist, that's part of the
job. That's right.
You know, like I've had other artists do that too. Scarface, man. I remember we were working so hard, and he told Donnie, we were at BT, said, "Man, this dude working me, man. You know, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to keep on getting up early and going late." And so he, I don't want to talk about Scarface because he might get somebody to come after me.
Hey, he did that tiny desk. I was impressed at the time.
Yeah, man. So he kept telling me. He at least he told me. He said, "Man, listen, I'm not doing tomorrow. I'm not going to do it." I said, "Oh, you gonna do it? You gonna do it?" "Oh no, man, we're not. I'm not doing that." So the next morning, I knock on his door. Nothing. Knock on his manager's door. He don't know where he's at. So I know Scarface was talking to some kind of like Mercedes-Benz dealer or something the whole time we was there. And he's like, I guess the dude was like, "Man, man, I don't know how long I can hold on to this car. There's some kind of special car." "Man, no, you hold on to that car." So anyway, I go down to the lobby, and of course we had been in that hotel beautiful hotel in DC. We had been there for a week, right? We were sort of based there and doing all of our business, right?
Right.
He told Donnie he wasn't going to do tomorrow. And he told me, I'm not going to do it. And go, yeah, you're going to do it. And so I went down to the lobby and I said, because by that time, all of the people, they knew us, right? I said, well, have you seen him? And the doorman said, yeah, he left about 2 hours ago. He caught a cab to the airport. He was gone. So how does that make me look, right? Because I got to go to cats like you, Lorenzo, program directors that have morning shows that have already done announcements saying, hey, we're going to have Scarface on the show, dinners that have been planned. I got to go and, tell people he's not here. Wow. So that's the other side of it.
But it's funny because artists
we didn't drop the record, did we?
No, I was about to say, that's exactly what I was
about. But cats will do that. I mean, hey, this is serious business. You done told your audience that hey, come out and meet Scarface or whoever. I'm using him, but I'm just saying, come out and meet so and so at the so and so mall, and they're not there.
Yeah, because and the thing about it is when you talk in DC, first of all, at the time, it's probably the number 5 market in the country in terms of population, but it controlled BET. And a lot of us didn't watch MTV because they didn't play a lot of our videos. We grew up on BET.
Right.
So when you say you're not going to do Donnie's show, you're actually saying I'm not doing Washington DC radio, and I'm not doing a nationally syndicated cable station, BET. And he's like, what happened to my videos? Well, they dropped them all. Right. Because you disrespected Donnie.
That's the nasty side of things,
That's the nasty side of the business.
Thank God, I didn't have too much of that going on, but some reps would get indignant and they would be like, man, F you. And then the next thing they get banned from the station. It could go any kind of way.
It could get real wild.
It could get real wild. And that's something that most of the public is not aware of. But back then, you guys had serious battles with your competition.
Yeah, wars,
like wars,
radio wars,
like wars,
radio wars.
Like I had a Soul to Soul record one year, and back to Donnie. Was it Janet Jackson, Soul Soul? I think it was, all of them. Like I had to make sure that every record was at every radio station at the exact same time of release.
Right.
You remember that, Lorenzo? I hear you. I see you holding your head. If that record was at PGC before it was at KYS,
it's a problem.
And any of the reps,
it was a problem. It was a problem.
That's the truth.
Especially between in Baltimore with V103 and 92Q.
I better not have Roy Sampson
and KYS and PGC. Those are two battles between Baltimore and DC market, definitely.
For Hector or whoever, Yeah. Now, all those people, thank God in heaven, they like me.
Right.
But I've seen cases where, they said, well, guess what? I'm never going to play your record.
And I remember and I joke about it all the time, especially when we were talking about, Lorenzo and I talked about it before. It's a skit that Dave Chappelle would run on one of his shows. It was Paul Mooney when he said, if you get too popular, white people will come and get you.
Right.
And they would make jokes and say, I can't get too popular because white people, because at the very end, of course, white people stole Dave Chappelle in the skit. Right. Remember when the black artists would get too big and the urban department would lose the artists almost?
Because the
white they would just relabel them and say, okay,
they relabeled them.
Yeah, they're pop artists. And so basically, the black departments would do the work of building them.
Right.
And then what you just said about Dave Chappelle, then the pop department would say, hey, you know what? They're pop now.
Right.
So the pop station.
Michael Jackson is a prime example. I mean, what did Off the Wall sound like? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, that was straight. Yeah, that was straight Quincy Jones.
Right.
off the wall, and then Thriller comes out, and now he's what, the king of pop?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but remember they were
the numbers dictate everything.
If they take you, if you sell enough records, we come and get you.
We're gonna come and get you. Yeah. So it's the numbers. The numbers dictate it, and so it's just like, unfortunately the black radio stations break it, and the alternative white stations, other stations, they benefit. But they don't have to do all of the testing and finding out if it's a hit. They're already superstar artists, and so they just grab it. Well, and I'm not condemning that, because
it expands the base for your artists.
That's business, and at the end of the day, it's all one paycheck. If they're getting their records played on pop radio or country radio or whatever, hey, it makes for a bigger artist. That's going on with Beyonce right now, right? I mean, she's got a country project.
Yeah, Nashville, they hate it.
Huh?
They hate it right now.
Yeah, but the numbers are going to dictate, because it's selling. It's streaming. It's performing, and it was, in my opinion, a very good move on her behalf, because what it does is it now expands her audience.
Right. Absolutely. But I remember the funky part was the pop department where to get a record and release it, and the urban stations had to wait for it back in the day. And
well, that's what I was saying about the example of BET. Like they would, sometimes the pop departments would get the projects first and release it, and then whatever. So it's politics, but there's politics in every business, so you have to, if you are good and your product is good, you're going to rise to the top, and, so I mentioned Gerald Busby earlier. I worked for Gerald Busby for a moment as an independent, and I learned a lot about him, man. I saw why he was so successful. If you're successful and you're good, then it don't matter what color your skin is. You're going to be respected, and you're going to succeed. It's business at that point. Right. And if you can make that company money, you in. I don't care. It's just when you stop making the money. Hey, you remember that movie Trading Places? Right? That's Trading Places. Hey, we're gonna put you in the spot. You making us money, but stop making us money and see where we put you.
See what happens. You tuned in to Shooting the Bull with the DJ. I'm yours truly, Eric Lee. I got my man Lorenzo I.C. Thomas always with me, and we've got Nat Martin in the house talking about the music industry, and it's a special Tuesday for us. Matter of fact, shout out to my man Kevin Sanders, who's in the place. He's a musician, one of my buddies, percussionist. He says he can listen to us and learn from us all evening long. Shout out to Kevin. I appreciate that. And if you're out and about, go ahead and hit that like button and that share button. And as well, you can be a part of the show. Just drop us a line in the text line. Now, we've been talking about all the hot ladies that you've been working with, and then we started to move it on through one of the super producers and some of his proteges. But we're gonna talk about the brothers that you ran with, and I know there's some stories behind some of these brothers, because the ladies, y'all get ready, because as much as me and Lorenzo like to swoon over Janet and all that other stuff, and Nat working with some of the hottest ladies that ever did it. I mean, this guy was known to have what kind of, it was a sex addict? Is that what they call Eric?
Yeah.
Was he a sex addict?
Hey, man.
Is that your counseling right there?
All kind of addictions out there. All kind of addictions out there, man. that was a bad addiction to have if you got Halle Berry as your wife. I
mean, they never satisfied.
But he said that. He said, wouldn't you be an addict if Halle Berry was your wife? He said that. And I think we would say yes.
Yeah. And that picture right there, again, it seems like I'm saying rest in peace.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, rest in peace to my main man, Dave Dickinson.
Dave Dickinson.
That's my brother.
Oh man.
Oh boy. I mean, I loved him, man. I loved Dave. He was just gentle. He was a gentle giant. And anybody that's on this podcast that knows Dave knows I'm telling the truth. He's a great guy, man. And I can't say nothing but great things about Dave. Right. I loved him, man. Love you, Dave.
It's crazy because I was in a conversation with some folks in the industry, and we keep finding and keep seeing this stuff pop up on the internet, and of course people that we know personally. We're starting to lose the giants in our business. Yeah. And people that we admired, people that mentored us, people that saved us from ourselves from time to time. And like you said, as we go through some of the photos and reminiscing about those times and relationships and things of that nature, because like you said, Nat, it's a business, but we built some really, really good friendships and great relationships.
Absolutely. And met some really good people, man. And Dave is at the top of the list, man. I'm telling you, because and again, I reference the folks that are on this call that have worked for record labels, and of course the radio people as well. We have roller coaster careers.
You can say that.
All of us have roller coaster careers where we're, at the highest highs and the lowest lows, and then we're back on the top of the mountain again, Right. And I will say that Dave, I'm telling you, man, he was on that ride with me. Right. Always. I mean, it was times when I always call it Boo Boo and the Bears. I might have a Boo Boo and the Bear record under my arm. Working as a play this record. Dave, man.
Overnight.
Oh my God, Dave. This is Boo Boo. I'm just be honest with you, man. This is Boo Boo and the Bears.
Just put it on overnight.
Can you please, Dave, can you find the place for it?
Put it between a commercial.
5 spins. That's all I need, right?
Five spins. Never did Dave ever disappoint me. Ever, man. So, there are people that basically, are part of saving your career, saving your life. Right, I mean, at some points, like you working, especially as an independent, you might only have 1 or 2 projects.
Right.
That's the difference between keeping your lights on and putting something in your refrigerator.
Right.
So I can't say enough about Dave. Period.
Good stuff. So let's get into the salacious part. So tell me, I know Eric. I know running the streets with Eric was probably off the chain. Let's talk about that.
Yes, it was. Well, Eric, was again a new artist signed to Warner Brothers. He didn't really know a lot about how stuff worked,
right?
And so he learned. We went on the road a lot. We got to be friends. I mean, friends. We'd be on the road, and his daughter would call and say, "Oh, Daddy." She at the time, she might have been in first grade. So, Bobby punched me, and something like that. Well, don't punch him back. Tell the teacher. That we would share family stories and all kind of stuff. And I will say that those women were just.
That's what we want to know. That's what
you want to hear.
We want to hear how the women acting.
Yes. They were. No disrespect to any of the ladies on this broadcast, but they were throwing themselves at him.
I know. I've seen it before.
I'm gonna be honest. They were throwing themselves at me because I was standing next to them. That's as far as I'm gonna go with that.
Right.
I've seen it.
But he was just overwhelmed with A-list women, like beautiful, beautiful women, man. Oh, I can remember one night he had a show, and just to blow off some steam, we went after the show. He wanted to go somewhere like to a private, like to a little small cafe type of club and see a local band. Well, we went there, and I knew the band, right? I knew the local band, and I was talking to them, and and so because they knew me, and then they recognized Eric, they shouted us out. Why did they do that? So
everybody in here where?
Yeah, this was just typical across the board. So like all of these women just and at the time he was dating Halle Berry, and everybody knew he was dating Halle Berry.
Oh, they didn't care.
And they're just overwhelming him, like most straight heterosexual men, that is their biggest weakness. Women.
Right.
Okay, let's just keep it real.
Oh yeah.
So hey man, I'm not making any excuses for his bad behavior.
But he said he was a sex addict. He said it. He said it.
I can, hey, people that get hung on drugs, what do? They start small, right? They smoke a little weed or whatever.
Introductory.
Yeah, that was cool, and then they move on to bigger and better things, and next thing you know, they're hooked. So I'm not saying he wasn't a sex addict. I don't know, but I'm just saying that he was bombarded with a lot of really beautiful women all the time. And as a straight heterosexual man, which I have no qualms with anybody's sexuality,
Right.
But I do know that he was probably tempted night after night. And even if you drip water on concrete, right? At some point, you start to see the concrete wearing down.
Because of the drips of the water.
Because of the drips of the water.
Shout out to my girl Tracy Brazil. She said that's Milwaukee's own, because she's from Milwaukee, of course.
Hey Tracy.
Nigga Beverly J. Daniels. She's probably best known as Beverly Dido when she was at CDX with us.
Hey Beverly.
Oh man. And I kind of understand that whole standing beside folks, and like you said, you stood beside Eric Benet. And I think I think that he loved her, I guess. I don't know. I mean, they would talk all the time when we were on the road. They would talk all the time, and I mean, I was pretty impressed actually, man. I said, damn, how did you do that? Right? I mean, he was a respectable artist, but he wasn't a superstar, Right.
He wasn't.
But he was a sex symbol. And I laugh at the part when you said, just standing beside him, the ladies like,
yeah, they were like, okay, well, what's your name?
I get it. And I tell this story from time to time. And I think, stop me if I told the story before. I was in LA at a convention, and there might have been a video convention, and I was getting into the elevator, and I walked, and when the door opened up, it was Michael, Scotty, Dennis Rodman, and the coach.
Right.
I'm like, oh snap, that's right. They were playing the Clippers that night. So I get in the elevator, and I'm like, I'm trying to be cool, like, okay, y'all tall, I see y'all. Turn around. So when the elevator doors close, those golden doors. So you see people's reflection in the background. I say, yeah, these dudes are tall. So I'm cool though, because I'm handling mine, because I'm here for a convention.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I mean, they can't. I know y'all Jordan and all that other stuff. So when the doors opened, I don't know who sent the bat signal up to let them know that professional basketball players were going to be in that hotel.
Yeah.
The craziest women I've ever seen in my life were all in the lobby. And that's when I realized that no matter where these guys go to on a nightly basis,
they are bombarded.
They're going to be bombarded. And it's going to take a real strong man not to fall short on one of those visits.
You really, to really be honest with you, like, I don't see how you can do it unless you just bring your wife with you all the time.
Steve Christie. I think that's the one that did that.
Just bring your wife on the road. Just bring her with you and have her go to the radio stations, have her go to the TV stations, have her do everything with you. You know, like that picture you just showed me. Well, it's a little different. I won't go there. But have your wife with you.
I understand. Because when I got off the elevator with the team, the ladies were like, "You with the team?" I'm saying to myself, "Am I with the team?
Am I with the team?"
Right. You could be a coach at that point. Oh, you coach Michael Jordan? Hey, what's your
Am I with the
team? Keep your wife with you, right? I keep my wife on my phone.
There you go, Lorenzo. Smart man.
I keep boom. You see me? Boom. Go to my phone. Bam. Right there.
Keep it close, man, because you're going into all kind of different environments. You're at the concert. There's a lot of excitement. I mean, cameras are flashing. You just like you said, Eric. You go back to the hotel. The hotel is lined up with women. In the lobby, they're doing.
And they're not just regular women. They're the baddest women.
Beautiful.
So
women.
Look, Eric Benet, he had the bottom of the barrel of your sexy meal.
Stock wise.
No, because what I'm about to drop on y'all.
But I'm just saying his stock is real low compared to who you're about to drop next.
I'm about to drop. The only person that's gonna outdo what I'm about to put out here right now, he gone, because he's going on to glory.
Right.
But this guy right here.
Oh. The
ladies.
Oh yeah.
His daughter did she did a tribute to him. I think he was getting his Walk of Fame or something like that. And she trolled him in the actual speech. She says, there's only there's only thing that I see more of you than your open shirts. It was something to that, because she was making jokes because he always got his shirt out, got his chest out of his clothes.
Right.
So, man, you work with Lenny. Now, I know you got some Lenny stories.
Oh yeah, man. Lenny was the coolest, man. I actually felt a true, genuine friendship with Lenny Kravitz, man, because again, just like Paul Abdul's story, he was a different kind of artist. So when I first started working with him, radio folks didn't know how to handle that. They were like, "Hey man, this dude is wearing bell-bottom pants and and it's like singing flower, 60s hippie music, and what in the world are you bringing to me? What are you bringing? Huh?
He ain't Prince.
No.
Right.
I mean, he was just so outside of the genre, man. And what was really crazy is that, again, just like Paula, they didn't know what to do with him, so they kept sending them to me.
Man, send him to Nat, damn it. Just send him to Nat.
Yeah, and so we became friends because they just kept sending them to me. And so we would just like in between, I remember inviting like all of these program directors out to dinner, right? And so it was like Hector and Greg Diggs and all these people out to dinner.
Oh, did you say Greg Diggs?
Greg Diggs.
He's in the chat.
You talking about this
Greg Diggs. Super DJ Greg Diggs, my man.
He told me to ask you about it says ask him how he bought some suits afterwards. Ask him
yeah. So yeah, that's perfect, Greg.
Well, he got excited about this one, Greg.
Thank you, Greg. Greg's been on the show too.
Yeah, man. Greg, man, I know Greg from so far back, man, because when I was an intern, I used to take records over. Greg was a DJ over at the Classics nightclub, which was the hottest nightclub in DC, man.
Yes.
Greg was a superstar DJ before he even got into radio.
Right.
He had that Classics, man. It would be cars lined up for miles. He was like the top DJ in DC. Greg.
The ladies lined
up. A lot of people don't know that about Greg, but see, I told you I'm an old man. I know where all the bones are buried.
Where all the bones buried.
Absolutely. Don't sick me on somebody. I know all about it. So anyway, so this dinner, I thank you, Greg. You're the perfect setup. So this dinner, I invited Greg and Hector and just all the program and music directors in the DC area out to dinner. And we were all saying, including me, because as you can see right now, I even though I got jeans on, but underneath of this, but I put a tie on for you guys, right? I'm always got a tie. Right? So we all sitting there at dinner, maybe about 7 of us at the dinner table with ties and sport jackets and suits on. And so Lenny's like sitting there looking like a reject from the 60s, civil rights movement, right? And so Lenny's like, man, what's the deal, man? Everybody in DC, what is this, like a thing where everybody dresses up in suits? And we were like, nah, I just happened to be that way for that particular night. So the next day, of course, it was sort of a light day because, I couldn't get any interviews really because the record wasn't really on radio yet. The record was, it ain't over till it's over, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so Lenny was like, man, that thing you were doing with the suits, man, I like that, man. Where do you get your suit from? So I said, well, I got a little shop in Georgetown that I go to that I really like. I know the tailor there, da-da-da. He says, man, take me there. So I took him there. And so he picked out this, like, at the time, man, this was back in the, like, probably early 90s, like maybe that's like a $10,000 suit. Like I'll say like a Giorgio Armani or something, like something really crazy, right? Yeah. He picked this suit out and he says, man, I like it. He tried it. He said, I like this suit, but man, can you flare the bottoms out a little bit for me? Can you do this to the cuffs? And so basically he asked the tailor to make him a suit that looked like he was a hippie, right? So the tailor was like, okay, man, we can do that for you. We'd have to send it back to you. So we having fun, man. Lenny, Lenny, he rehearsing at the Ritz-Carlton in his room. I'm sitting there like, yeah, got a private concert going on. The people call, hey man, what are y'all doing? Lenny, a rock star, right? And so he does a little performance. He goes back to LA.
Right. And
I get this call from Jeff Aroff and Jordan Harris, who are the chairmen of Virgin Records.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, I'm about to lose my job. So Nat, we have a photo shoot on Details Magazine this week, and Lenny is insisting that he wears a suit that we were told you encouraged him to buy. I said, listen, sir, I didn't encourage him to buy it. I gave him the whole story. They said, we have spent thousands of dollars to promote his image, and you are about to ruin that.
Hold on. You about to ruin
me? I didn't have nothing to do with it. It was Greg looking sharp or Hector looking sharp, not me, And so I think he took that picture. I think he took that photo.
Why didn't you just blame Greg? Why didn't you just blame Greg? Oh, the guy from BET that plays his videos, he was the one that influenced him. Then he would have shut up.
Maybe.
Because you're not going to go at Greg.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean,
at the time, or was we still just a DJ?
Who? Greg?
Was Greg at BET then, or he was just DJ? Nat, I'm just saying, was Greg at BET at the time, or was he just DJing? So.
No, Greg was music director at KYS.
Okay, KYS, okay.
They're not going to say nothing to Greg. He's the music director.
No. Yeah, that ain't happening then.
Yeah, no. I was the fall guy on that one. So
and he was at KYS.
Yeah, but thank God, they didn't let me go. And they persuaded him to keep his image, which is the image he has now.
Right.
And but a lot of great times with Lenny Kravitz, man. I remember
You know what we want to know next about the girls?
They would always send him to my market, man. I remember one time they sent them, it was like a huge snowstorm. Right. And I was trying to get radio people to come out, and nobody was like, man, Nat, do you realize it's like 12 inches of snow on the ground. I was like, yeah, but can you just come out to dinner? And, and Jamie Brown from Sister to Sister.
Oh, Jamie. I know Jamie was there.
She came out. I love her, man. I said, Jamie, I will send a limo for you if you come out. So it was maybe the 3 or maybe 4 of us. We closed the restaurant down, snowing like crazy. Lenny Kravitz having dinner privately with Jamie Brown. She wrote a beautiful article on him.
I'm sure she did.
Oh, I mean, just a lot of memories, man. Just the concerts and stuff, man, that Lenny did. Because
what's the salacious part? Where the girls at? How they acting for the Lenny?
Oh, you want to? Oh, well,
we want to know about Lenny because we talked about Eric. What about Lenny?
Lenny's women were on a whole another level.
Oh,
of beauty.
Okay.
And just
how so?
They were globetrotters from Eastern Europe. And
I mean,
Africa and Asia,
everywhere, man. Every culture. I remember being, and again, Lenny was very popular,
right,
in an underground way before he broke big as a rock star. So I remember we were in some little, the pop department, of course, sent me and Lenny to some pop event, in Philly, just me and him. And I had no idea he was that huge of an underground figure. Right. And so just every woman from every culture was on him. And he must have pissed somebody off because when we left that little, I was driving him around, right? It was just me and him. It wasn't anything fancy. When we left that club, this dude, big white boy, followed us out. He said, man, you were talking to my girl, blah, blah. And he swung on Lenny. He swung. And Lenny ducked. He took some boxing lessons or something. He ducked. And I said, all I did was yell, hey, man, what are you doing? And dude just went away. I'm so thankful for that. But
that's part of the job, baby. Protect my artists.
Yeah. So I was security guy that night. Wow. So your job duties are all over the place. Yeah, but Lenny, man, I think the probably out of all the artists, man, including Quincy, I work with Lenny a lot. Maybe not as much. Him and Quincy a lot, but Lenny, he was just so personable, and I just, even when I left Virgin, I went over to Warner Brothers. He would ask the gentleman that replaced me, that's my boy Eric Burns. Eric would tell me, man, he said, man, Lenny was asking about you, man. Lenny said, man, give him a call, or, and I didn't keep in touch with him. I should have, right. Because, he really, I think, genuinely liked me. Like a lot of the artists, they like you because you are promoting their records, right. You know what I mean? But it's business. But right. I felt as though he might have been one that just was a genuine dude. I mean, his mom was Roxy Roker. He comes from Hollywood legend. You know what I mean? His godfather is Miles Davis.
Right.
So he comes from,
and he was married too.
Right. Oh man, what's the girl name?
Lisa Bonet.
Lisa Bonet. Yeah. Right. Now at that time they were sort of in a patchy situation. Mm-hmm. Okay. Which is what I think the song, if I it's been 30 plus years, but I think that song, It Ain't Over Till It's Over, I think he wrote that for her.
Mm. Okay.
It ain't over till it's over.
Yeah.
That's classic. You'll hear that song walking through the supermarket.
Yeah.
Right? That's one of the songs that you'll hear.
Yeah, it's strange, man, that like I was in Macy's during Christmas. And I was, shopping for family gifts and, stuff. And I walked past the, I want to see get a little something for myself. And I walked past the cologne aisle, and there's a huge display of Lenny Kravitz in his cologne.
Oh, man.
So, and that just hits you like, wow, you just have to stop.
I took a picture of it and started sending it to some of the people that I used to work with. I said, man, can you believe this? Because it's like you go from an artist that nobody wants to deal with to a guy now that's a superstar. Like it's funny because I remember he came into my market one time and he was always, I don't know how I became a fashion consultant because I'm not, right? I still have to get people to pick.
So are you the reason why he started wearing the see-through shirts?
No, sir.
Oh, okay.
No, sir. I'm not. No, sir. No. But I picked out a couple of glasses, sunglasses for him, and he would wear them like on MTV Awards and different things. So, I said, damn, I picked those glasses out for him, or helped him pick them out. So,
but you know what?
Yeah,
I never even thought about it.
Huh?
Oh, my man, Greg Street. What up, Greg Street?
What's up, Street?
Greg Street. What up, what? So one of the things we talked about working with Eric Benet, I just forgot it. It just hit me because I was looking through, and you said something that kind of jogged my memory. You said you work with Eric, you work with Lenny, but you are on Warner.
I've been to
you work with Prince
labels, so that's
with Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Lorenzo, did you see how he just said that?
No.
Yeah, Prince.
Well, by the time I got to Warner Brothers,
he was mad.
He was writing slave backwards. He wasn't feeling Warner, right? So
he was writing slave backwards.
Yeah, when he was on stage, he would have slave written backwards on his piece.
Yeah, we remember, and we couldn't understand what he was doing. We know now, we understand now, but we didn't know what he was doing.
Right. I mean, dude was just not only a musical genius, but a business genius.
Oh, yeah.
And so far ahead of his time on everything, And quick story on Prince. So I had this record on Prince. It was called a record again. Prince being Prince. He had a record called "I Hate You." I bet you guys don't remember that record.
I do.
Come on now, we remember that.
Yeah. So I again.
That's my slow jam tapes. Come on now.
There you go. So again, back in that day, radio stations were very competitive.
Right.
So my pop counterpart gave that record to WPGC first.
Ooh.
That was a big problem. So the program director at the time at KYS, his name was George. He's down in Texas now. George
Cook.
George Cook.
Geo
Cook.
Yeah.
Right. So Geo said, I'm not going to play that record. We talking about Prince.
You talking about Prince. You're not going to play Prince record? Okay.
Not going to play it. I had a problem.
What year is this? What year is this, Nat? Do you remember? What year is this?
I don't remember, man.
Okay.
But here's the thing. When I called him George, I still call him George. I ain't seen him in years, but they call him Geo now, right? I hope he's watching. But I hope he's watching. Because listen, when dude came to town, I showed him all around. I showed him like where to get a nice apartment at. He got the apartment. I really, but business is business. And so when he found out that PGC had played that record first, he said, Nat, I'm not going to play it. So I said, man, come on, man.
This Prince, bro. This talking about my job, man.
Don't do that, man. Don't do that. Nah, man, they shouldn't. Somebody at your company shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry, it's on you, bruh, but it's on you, bruh. So, I called my bosses out in LA. I said, man, this dude is not going to play this record. So they said, well,
what you have to do?
You need to go back in there and talk to him some more, right? So we're back in there, and so he's like, "Nah, Nat, I'm not gonna play that record." So then he started playing with me,
right?
And he said, "Okay, get Quincy Jones to call me and ask me to play this record." I hope you're watching, George.
said, I hope
This is the God honest truth.
Right.
So, okay, what is Quincy Jones? Is same label?
Not a damn thing.
I'm like, what does that have to do? Yeah, what does Quincy Jones have to do with Prince?
Not a damn thing.
That sounds like Puffy on that making the bag. Go get me some goat's milk in the middle of
yeah. Cambodian goat's milk.
And if you don't believe me,
breast milk.
Somewhere out there, if you don't believe me, somewhere out there was his music director, Tony Lopez. And I was begging Tony. I said, Tony, man, please, y'all don't do this to me.
I remember
they were at Kiss?
Yeah.
I remember Tony.
Yeah. And so
were they winning?
I don't really remember. Do you mean ratings?
Yeah. Were they beating PGC at this time?
I don't think so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's probably part of it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he says,
was it owned by, you know, if it was owned by Radio One at this time?
Oh, yeah, it was owned by Radio One at this time.
Okay.
So, it got a little nasty, you know.
Yeah, oh, I bet.
But I'm telling you, this is probably one of the only times that it's got there was an impasse between me and one of my radio guys. And I don't dislike him for it. It's business. Right. But like I said about Dave or you two guys or Steve Crumley, whoever, they just would say, I don't like it, but Nat, tell your people I was upset about
Eric,
that.
in a situation like this, is all right, we're not going to play this record. All right, what's the next single?
Hey, listen, guys. How about we send 2 winners to Prince's concert?
Thank you. Something
in New York,
or when he comes to town, we do an exclusive Prince party at the House of Secrets.
Absolutely,
one of his favorite places.
Nah,
that's what we do.
He didn't do that. So he says, you know, only way I'm gonna play this record because I was working a Quincy record at the time too. He said, only way you're gonna get me to add this record if you have Quincy call me. So guess what we did?
Quincy called him.
And Tony Lopez, they didn't believe it. Tony Lopez picked the phone up and they said, this is Quincy Jones. Can I speak to George Cook? They believe it.
That's because Nat on the job.
God was on that job. God stepped in because I ain't know what to do.
Man.
God stepped in and said, we're going to save this boy's job.
That's what's up.
So
that's what's up.
That's the power of radio
and relationships.
Yep. Gotta keep them. So you work with a lot of the majors.
But that relationship was done because of the position that he put you in.
I didn't like him for a long time.
Yeah, no, it was done. It was done.
I don't dislike him now. He's all right. You know, I mean,
but at that time, they had to put a strain on this working relation because you got to come around next week with some more records. You know what I'm saying?
Come on, man. I mean, you know, I was not, you know, and any of the people in the industry that's on this call now that know me, I'm a humble, soft-spoken guy. Bro. I'm not that cat, man. You know, like, don't do me like that, man. I have never.
You ain't Reggie Barnes. You ain't Reggie Barnes. You must be Reggie Barnes.
Oh yeah, man. Reggie, my man.
Reggie, hey, you gonna play my record?
That's right. Reggie Barnes is strong arm your ass, right? I'm strong arm your ass. So if you're thinking about Bruce Lee, Bruce Lee got all kind of forms of martial arts, right? So Reggie Barnes would kick you in the mouth. You know what I'm saying?
He was Suge before Suge was Suge.
Right. I was more the kumbaya type of promoter. You know, hey man, you know, everything's lovely.
I love me some Reggie Barnes. Reggie told me this because I was a kid. I just started drinking. And I had won Music Director of the Year in Billboard magazine. That. And he came to hang out with me and celebrate. And we were at the club down in the Slip of Chaka. And he said, what you order? I said, man, let me go get a whiskey sour. He says, I'll be damned if you're going to drink a whiskey sour beside me. He said, get you. I said, what? He said, bartender, give me some V-Sop and get the kid over here some too. That was the first time I drank cognac.
He was bringing you into the business the right way.
Oh my God. Man, when that was the first time I drank cognac, that thing put a hole in my chest in the club. I was like, "Oh,
yes, sir. You better
don't you ever order me."
Man, Sharon and some of my other bosses would get on me because everybody knows I'm a tightwad, right? Not only with my money, but with the company money too. And I had an expense account, like I could go out here and do whatever I needed to do.
Right.
Expense account wise, the best dinners, the best bars, whatever, And so I used to get in trouble because I wasn't spending enough money. Like I would say, hey man, where you want to eat? And they're like, hey man, I'm in a hurry, man. I gotta get back on the air. Let's just go to a Red Lobster or something, And I'd be turning Red Lobster receipts. They'd be like, are you crazy? So
that's the program director of the biggest station in DC, and you went to Red Lobster.
He want to go. Hey, I'm gonna take the dude where he want to go. He said he want to go to Red Lobster, but then it's funny because as I matured and learned how to use the expense account, I remember one night, and in fact, my lady's in the other room, and I remember one night I was working with Donnie. And it was his birthday, and Frankie Beverly, right. So him and Frankie Beverly real close. I said, listen, let's all go out and get something to eat. Bring your wife, and I'll bring my lady, blah blah blah. So we all went out collectively,
right,
to Morton's, and
I was highfalutin that day.
Yes, sir. And man, and I'm gonna tell you something. When that bill came.
$1,000 and what?
They was drinking top shelf stuff. They was
2,000 and what?
Oh yeah, man. I was like, oh boy, but they didn't bat an eye because that's what it's supposed to be for.
Right.
True.
Right.
You guys, we're salespeople. You got other businesses. They take people out to the golf course.
True.
You know what I mean? They, like remember the Jack the Rapper conventions? That's all business.
Business.
Yeah, that's all business. So you guys come in. We're gonna make sure. Now, you guys were having a good time. We were working our asses off.
Yeah, because I was in the suite right after we go to the suites. Virgin Night Suite. We go to drink and eat.
Right, drink and eat, and we bring our artists around and say.
I worked a little bit because I hosted quite a few of the performances and the functions. So I worked a little bit.
It works.
But that was fun work.
It's fun for you. Fun for you.
Right.
Yes. Which is what it's supposed to be.
Out of all the conventions, which one do you remember the most? Which is like your most vivid one?
Jack the Rapper?
Jack the Rapper in Atlanta?
Yeah.
Do you have a specific year?
That year that Luke bought them strippers there, and then like they raided the place.
You talking about when who got shot? Was it Luke's boys got shot?
I think Luke's boys got shot. They had the mounted police with horses in them.
No, that was the BRE. That was the BRE in New Orleans.
Oh, I'm getting it mixed up
with the mounted.
No, it was something crazy at Jack the Rapper with Luke.
Luke, yeah, because remember Luke's boys got shot. It was Dre because that was the East Coast, West Coast, but Dre, that was that year Tim Dog was going through.
Oh my goodness!
He was going through talking about F. Compton, and Luke was there. Dre was there because Dre and Luke. That's when Luke's bending over. Luke's getting that was the Dre day because that was out. So Luke and Dre had beef, and I think one of Luke's boys got shot in the butt. Yeah. Down in the basement at the party on a Saturday night because me and Lo left because we were like, we gotta get out of town because the boys from Miami coming back.
Right.
I remember they said the boys. Luke called his boys from Miami, and Miami only a stone's throw from Atlanta. By that time, Drake and everybody else they got out of town. They shot him.
But we still partied with Luke though.
No, we left that Sunday morning because we knew Miami's.
We had partied the night before.
Yeah, we had partied the night before.
Yeah, definitely.
Man, Jack the Rapper was crazy. I remember that like it was yesterday.
Wait, was that the year I had my girlfriend with me? We're not gonna say her name.
No, that wasn't it. It was.
Yeah, it was that year.
No, it wasn't because we left together. We left together. That's when the cop.
Okay.
Remember the cop pulled?
Because it's a couple of all of them run together.
Yeah. No,
but all of those conferences, man, were designed and catered for you guys for radio. You know, so
hey,
yeah, man.
hey.
Like like you said, BRE and
Right.
Impact Convention in Atlantic City and Jack the Rapper. All it was a point where, man, like between having the artists in my markets, going to the conventions, going to the WIA conferences.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I would just leave one city, go fly into Jack the Rapper, leave Jack the Rapper, go to the WIA convention, go back, go on the road with another artist. You know, it was just like running.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Do you miss it?
Yeah. Oh, what? If they had a convention like that right now, we'd go. We'd all go.
Yeah.
We'd all go.
Yeah.
If they had a Jack. No, it'd have to be an urban network.
See, the thing about it was work, but it was also fun. You know, and it was an opportunity to meet so many people, network, like all of the different people that you know in the industry, you know, like different people in different areas of the music industry, you would meet at those conventions, you know, and you would form relationships with them. And, you know, somewhere around the line, you would run into them again. And, you know, so it was beautiful in that way. Yeah. It not only exposed the artists to you guys, like, for instance, I might have After 7, right? And they're new and they got a new record and you don't know about it, and they get up on stage. I kind of like that After 7 project. You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, it's a platinum project.
Right.
And so it gave us as air personalities the opportunity to sit down at the bar or by the pool and have a conversation with the artist. And that's when a lot of the bonding happened. So therefore, then when we went back home, we needed an interview. Hey, Nat, I want to catch up with someone. Or like with Janet Jackson. Oh, yo, I got to have Lorenzo. We're in DC. Lorenzo's got to get an interview with Janet Jackson. Just because of the relationship.
Right. It was established. It gave you something to talk about, too, because I remember being on the Arista weekend and playing basketball with the Locks, Mace, and everybody. And when I was doing my video show, when I sat down with Mace, the last time I saw you, he said, "Yeah, we were playing basketball." So the artists remember. They were like, "Yo, you had a nice little handle."
And unfortunately, it's not like that anymore. You know, like again, I have a basketball story too. You know, I was at Jack the Rapper, and I was playing on one of the teams, and I was checking Chico DeBarge, right? I work with Chico DeBarge.
Right.
So you see what I'm saying?
Right.
So it was just like a beautiful thing, you know. Like I don't know if that will ever come back,
right?
Because of the type of music that is
being played now.
You know, it would be hard to do that, I think.
Well, I mean, there's too many beefs now. You got R&B singers beefing with rappers. Kendrick Lamar came out with his today. The only reason why I know, because I got some millennials that work with me. It's like, "Hey man, guess what just happened?" I was like, "What?" It was like, Kendrick just came back. I was like, "Oh, Drake."
That's what it's all about now, man. And it's unfortunate because even on the, you know, I deal with a lot of local I guess aspiring artists, right? And it's like that everywhere, man. Like one part of the city can't go to the recording studio on the other side of the city, and this, you know, rappers that's just known in a particular city, they might have a little bit of a name, they get shot, and their managers get shot.
Wow.
So I don't see.
So I take it you don't promote rappers now, because that doesn't sound very.
I stay away from that stuff, man. You know, I'm an older dude now. I don't have anything in common with those guys. You know, like I said, you know, when I was younger, you know, we formed relationships. I could hang out with them, and you know, not just working with them, but you know, we had stuff to talk about in common, our children or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Or even in my mid 30s, like with Tamia, because Tamia was a little young girl. She was dating Grant Hill. So I would tease her relentlessly about him, man. I'd be like, "Grant Hill, where you seeing that dude? You know, I'm going to call him up. You don't talk about it." You know, it was fun. You know? But
And she lives here now because Grant owns part of the.
If I tease one of these rappers, I might get a gun put to my head, man.
What's so funny, man? Special shout out to my Bernard Leach. He said he's enjoying the show. Thanks, good. Bernard, for checking in. What's up, Bernard? Yeah. So
my best friend's name, Bernard.
Yeah, Bernard went to school with us, man. So
okay.
Thanks, Bernard. Thank you.
Yeah, it's always good to have my folks from state kicking in. So yes, man, so I know what you've been working because from a digital radio standpoint.
I call Lorenzo too.
You call Lorenzo too? Okay, yeah. So you've been working with Stokely from Mint Condition.
Yes, sir. He's been out doing a play, very good play. If anybody, look, now I'm promoting, right? Even though I don't have anything to do with this, but it's Rick James.
Rick James.
Are you playing Rick James?
Yeah. He's playing Rick James, man. He does a good job.
Really?
Yeah, he does a good job. It's funny, man. I went to the play one night, and when he first came out, they was like, "Oh, hey, Stokely." He's gonna say, "Oh, Stokely," right? And by the middle of the play, he had transformed to Rick.
Did he have the braids too?
In their mind, he's wearing the braids and all of that, right?
The hip boots and the
everything. He's playing Rick James, and so by the middle of the play, he's grabbing a crack pipe, right? And he's about to smoke the crack pipe, and they're going, "Oh no, Rick, don't smoke it." So he's doing a great job, man. Shout out to my boy Stokely. I mean, I've had so much fun working with him. I've been working with him for the past 7 years. He put out his first solo project from Mint Condition 7 years ago. So I've worked each and every one of those singles, man, and I'm very proud of the work that he puts out.
Every time I see him perform,
outstanding music, man.
Every time I see him perform, he's good.
Man, go see him perform, man.
Yes.
The dude, I tell him all the time, I said, man, how do you do all of that, man? How do you all that flipping and jumping and kicking and running around? Great performer, man.
Yeah.
But he takes his craft very seriously, man. Like before the show, he might be in his dressing room for an hour stretching.
Okay.
In fact, he's gotten me into stretching, because I know when you get older, that's one of the things you lose is your flexibility.
That's right.
Call a kill. Call a kill. The yoga master.
Well, Kill. I saw Kill at Dave's funeral, man. It was good to see him, man. He's like
on the show. He's been on the show.
Has he?
Yeah, he's been on the show.
Man. Yeah.
We gotta get up. I'm gonna have all y'all on. I'm having everybody we know.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you guys inviting me because, I've been a little reluctant. You guys have said a couple of times, come on the show. I'm a behind the scene quiet guy, man. And,
we're just going to sit here and chop it up about the industry.
Yeah,
the show is about someone like you.
That's what
the show's about.
Because, so when people watch this, they say, so he worked with Tina, Chaka, Janet, Quincy, Tamia, Stokely, Prince.
Pharrell. I mean, what's funny, man? I'm gonna show you something. When you started, because I am a research guy. I try to be thorough, right?
Okay.
So let me see if I can show you that. I don't know if you can see it, but I've got 4 pages of artists that I've worked with.
Wow.
4 pages, and this is not even the complete list, man. Like you can name any alphabet. A, Al Jarreau. B.
Wow.
C, College Boys or Tevin Campbell. D, George Duke. E, Earth, Wind and Fire. It goes on and on. I just
keep going. Keep going. Look, but I think that's go ahead.
G, Kitty G, Gangstar. H-Town, Layla Hathaway. I, Immature. J, Bob James, Boney James, Glenn Jones, Janet Jackson. It just goes on.
Keep going. We want to hear them all.
Keep going. We want them all.
K, Frankie Knuckles. You know who that is?
I remember Frankie.
Yes, of course. Come on now.
Anybody that's a Heart Attack would know who he is. Anybody that's a DJ.
Everybody know Frankie Knuckles.
Right. We know Frankie Knuckles.
If you're a DJ.
Legend, man. L, Cheryl Lynn. M, Mary J. Blige. Only a little bit with Mary J. O, Jeffrey Osborne. Prince for P, Q, Quincy Jones. I mean, Roger Troutman, Soul to Soul, Joe Sample, Tina Turner, UB40, Kurt Whalum. I mean, Ziggy Marley for Z.
Z. Dude, that is crazy.
And that, I'm telling you, and that is not even
the
half
fact, well, you forget after, did you say After 7?
After 7, I still work with him. Yeah, I'm still working with After 7.
I thought so. You still work with After 7, and you work with Kenny Lattimore too, right?
No, I never worked with Kenny.
No, with Kenny. No, wasn't Kenny. Okay, okay. I thought you was working one of his singles.
No.
All right. Well, I mean, you work shit.
But that all is a mixture of a lot of things, man. Some of it is label stuff that like when I was with the labels, and then some of it was like management stuff, like as an independent, like with Stokely, working with his manager. Then some of it is personal relationships, like After 7. Been working with them for over 30 years. Some of it is independent work, like say Ari Lennox or Summer Walker.
I love me. I love me some Ari Lennox, boy.
Yeah, people throw stuff out at you, so throw you projects. So it's just a mixture of a whole bunch of stuff, man. Snoop Dogg. How
high were you around him?
I didn't really work with Snoop Dogg. I worked like several Snoop Dogg projects.
Right. Okay. All right.
Including an independent project that I was involved with. One of those Boo Boo and the Bear records I was saying. Dave helped me out on that. Okay. A lady by the name of Rosalie, a very talented lady, and she was able to get Snoop Dogg to do a song with her, and I worked that song. So it's been a roller coaster of stuff, man.
Yeah. Now you said there are quite a few artists that you've worked with, but that's a small percentage of the ones that have succeeded.
Yes.
What artists that didn't make it do you feel should have made it, or you wish the company could have gotten behind a little bit more to push so they could succeed on possibly kicking the door? If you can name one or two artists.
It's way more of them than it is on this list. I mean, like there was this one group, 3 girls, their name was Faja. And
no. I play Faja the whole
Did you
album.
for real?
I play it on the station.
Wow.
Them girls were bad. Faja was bad. If anybody go pull up Faja, that album was phenomenal, and it still sounds good today.
It's a lot of stuff, man. I mean, Dwelle, he didn't really blow up. You know what I mean? Right. But talented dude, huh?
You don't feel like he blew up? I mean, I knew all of this stuff. I guess because
he might be a superstar in the neo soul type of genre.
Bingo. But that's my thing. That's my thing.
But not like if you go ask grandma who Dwelle is, she ain't gonna know who Dwelle is.
But you're saying he should have been bigger, right?
Yeah. But he sells out when he comes to Atlanta.
Does he?
Yes, God.
Yeah, he's got a huge
small venues, 2,000 seaters, 1,000 seaters, but he sells out.
Yeah, yeah, again, these are artists that like not household names,
right?
But just talented, had a following. It just didn't click for some reason. And what's funny, when I started working with Dwelle, he said he had been signed to Virgin for 5 years before they released his project. Wow. So he'd been waiting for 5 years to get his record released.
Wow, man, I swear. Redhead Kingpin.
Redhead Kingpin. Yeah, man.
Tag brought that in.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
It just didn't break, man. This dude had a song on one of Spike Lee's movies.
We played it in Richmond, E. We played Redhead Kingpin. We played him in Richmond, for sure. We played him in Richmond.
Hey, man, I got a song to this day that every DJ loves. It's called You Want This Party Started Right by a group called Something for the People.
Yeah, Something for the People.
Them cats was talented, man. They was producers. I love them, man. We was on the road a lot. It just didn't happen. It happened, but it didn't happen. Right. You know what I mean?
Good music is good music.
They have a song called Shh.
Right.
They did, right?
I mean, they produced that song for Will Smith, just the two of us, and they're producers, man. But and it's funny because there's a dude in there called Cat Daddy, right? And
I like Cat Daddy.
Cat Daddy introduced Usher. Was it Usher? Not Usher.
I just want to make sure we said something for the people, right? My love is the shh. That was
My
the
love
song we
is
did.
right. That was one of the songs we worked out.
Yep.
It just didn't pan out. Right. What's the dude that's like Usher that was on the television reality show? Oh man, that wears the hat. Neo. Okay, so Something for the People had a deal on Warner Brothers,
right?
And they knew the A&R person over at Arista, and Cat Daddy took Neo over to Arista and said, "Hey man, this dude is one of my songwriting, buddies. I think he's good." They signed him.
Wow.
So Neo blew up, but they didn't blow up. So it's all kind of stories like that, man.
Wow.
Yeah, because Neo was on Def Jam, wasn't he? Eventually. Because I remember Thomas working him.
Yeah. Thomas Littell.
Oh yeah, that's our boy. I mean, he's been on the show too.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I know where all the bones are buried, man. Like when I first met Thomas Littell, he was DJ Ebony.
DJ Ebony. The Easy Brother of New York. That's what
he was the music director at a radio station in Virginia Beach called WMYK.
Yeah.
Yep.
About 2,500 watts, but it was a bomb. It was a beast.
And guess who
K95.
was Huh?
K95.
K95. And guess who was his program director?
Who?
Dave Allen.
It sure was.
Wow.
Dave Allen was his program director.
And Dave went to Philly.
He went to Philly
relationships again. Dave went to Philly. So the first day, you had about 20 Philadelphia reps in the lobby waiting to meet Dave, right? So I walk in. I probably was like 19 out of the 20. I'm walking in a little late. Dave walks out and said, Nat, come on in.
I'm like, who is this dude?
Man, that was huge.
That was huge. Yeah.
That was huge, man. Buddy D and all those cats in Philly, Jack Wellman, all those guys, they was like,
who is this dude?
Who is this dude doing this? Who's this Dave Allen? But I knew him from Virginia Beach. From Ocean City before Virginia Beach.
Right.
And see, just like Lorenzo, you said you knew me when I was a college rep. Well, I formed those relationships, man, with cats that were working at these obscure radio stations that nobody paid attention to. Right. I would send them music. I would call them every week. I would say, "Hey, man, how you doing? You got the newest so-and-so song record?" They broadcasting to Fish.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Mickey Spencer was on here, and when she was at WKIE, I was at WANT.
Right.
In Richmond, Virginia.
Right.
So that was another war of the Battle of the AMs.
The Battle of the AMs, man.
Mm-hmm.
I would service all of those.
What's AM records? What is AM radio? Now they have no idea what AM radio was.
Hey, if they had a broadcast, I would service them and I would make sure I talked to them.
That's true.
Regularly. Because quiet as it's kept, the bigger radio station program directors would listen to those stations and get, oh man, that song sounds good on that station.
Yeah.
Right.
So I knew that if I could get Lorenzo to play at WANT, eventually Phil Daniels going to play it over at WPLZ.
Ooh.
Yes, sir.
Is there
and big shout? I got to give a big shout going out to Al Bravador as well, because Bravador was working at KIE, and then he came over WANT. Eric Lee worked over there with me. CJ Francis, rest in peace, and also Chocolate Chip.
Karen is here. Karen's here in Atlanta.
Karen?
Yeah, CJ.
Oh, yeah?
White. That's white.
Okay.
Yeah,
who's white?
CJ.
We're talking about different CJ, two different CJs.
WANT?
Yeah, we're talking about a different CJ. Yeah.
Okay. Didn't you pass away?
Yeah.
Had the white Rolls Royce.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Now, who's Karen married to?
She was married to she Francis. Her last name was Karen Francis. It was his wife. You remember Karen?
Karen, that worked with us at CDX, right?
No, at A&T. You talking about WA&T?
Oh, okay. No, when you say Karen, I thought CDX.
Oh, no.
I can't remember Karen right now.
Okay, all right, yeah. Well, she lived.
Hey, listen, I had stations that would influence you at A&T. I would work Shannon Drive, right?
From BST.
Mm-hmm.
At the college radio station.
That's where
I still work her at the college radio station.
That's my station.
I still work her. So those types of I would love it when other reps would sleep on that, because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna service the college radio stations. I'm gonna service the AM radio stations. I'm gonna service everybody that broadcasts, because everybody is important and everybody makes a difference and is an influencer. That's what they do now. That's what they call it. You're an Instagram influencer, or you. Same thing. So what is old is new. Right.
Is there anybody are there any artists that you work with that were like, God, I don't believe I got to work with this guy again? Is there anybody that just was like, you had to work with them, but you really didn't want to work with them because they got on, they did something that like, you mentioned one of the artists. I cracked up laughing because when he was on another label, I knew the guys at Uptown did not like working with Christopher. I knew that.
Yeah.
My boys would be like this, yo, that dude is Lucifer.
Well,
I ain't gonna call the rep out, but he was like, yeah, that dude was Lucifer.
Yeah, well, the thing about certain artists is that, they got to take their careers serious, man. Like I'm serious, I'm working hard, and I'm like my relationships are way more important to me than anything. And when you start to do things that make me look bad and sort of bring a little bit of instability to my relationship, I have a problem with that.
Right.
So, like a Christopher Williams, I remember setting up a whole promo tour for him in Philadelphia. It was a one-day tour, I guess you could say, a one-day station promo visit. Let's put it that. Wasn't really a tour. Right. And so I called Butter and Pat Jackson, and Pat was broadcasting, and they're doing me a favor, right? Pat's broadcasting live from some place in Philly, and I called Power 99 and all these different places, and he was there to perform. So he was there to perform which I don't like to do. I don't really like to set up promotional visits when artists have to perform, because it's just they're humans, Right. And so I remember the concert promoter calling me and says, "Hey man, listen, Christopher's been missing, and he has our limo. Do you know where he's at?" And I'm like, "I don't know where he's at." And so the day went on. I'm sitting there with Pat Jackson, just like waiting for him to show up. He never shows up. So Pat, being the sweetheart that she is, she wasn't mean or anything to me. She just like, okay, well, I understand. But the bigger thing is that later that evening, I went. So I didn't know where he was. So I didn't worry about it. I knew this is terrible to say. He was not really officially a Warner artist. He was on Giant, right?
Right.
I was communicating with Tony. What's Tony's last name? Great guy, man. Oh, he died too. He was like, he's like a VP over there. Him and Ardenia were like working together over at Giant, which was a subsidiary of Warner.
Yeah.
And so I'm calling them. I said, "Hey man, dude is missing in action. I don't know where he's at." So he's like, "Well, we're trying to contact him, blah, blah, blah. All these people calling. I don't know where he's at. Nobody knows where he's at." So it's getting late in the evening. I know you guys know where this is going. So now the concert promoter's calling me. "Hey man, come on through the show." So I go to the venue. Place is packed with women, maybe 2,000 women.
Looking for Christopher.
Looking for Christopher, right?
I'm so sorry.
Yes, sir. They wanted to hear him. He was going to sing directly to them, right?
Yeah.
And so it's getting later and later, and the promoter, he's pacing and that. So what are you doing, man? Can you get him here? I said, I'm calling him. I don't know where he's at. So I get this call from Tony at Giant, and he's like, man, listen, can they hear you? I said, no, they can't really hear me. He says, man, listen, I am talking about jackets, right? I have a great big Warner Brothers jacket on. Oh, I'm just official up in that piece, right? And he says, listen, man, that owner of that club, he is really upset. Christopher has had that limo for a couple of days. That place is packed, and he's thinking he's going to have to give all that money back, and he is not happy. And he says, is that promoter there? I said, yeah, he's standing right in front of me. He said, listen, slide on off from him, man, and get out of there.
Whoa.
I said, okay. So I told the promoter, not the club owner, because he's mad. He's pacing back and forth. I told him, I said, listen, man, my office told me that I need to go back to the hotel and pick up something. I'll see if I can contact Christopher. I wasn't lying. They told me. So I leave. And as I'm driving back to the hotel, my phone rings. So it's Tony. He said, Nat, did you get out? I said, yeah. I said, what's going on? He said, man, I was on the phone with the promoter, and all of a sudden I heard, oh. They was whipping ass up in there because Christopher did not show up.
Did not show up.
Oh, man.
Now, guess who else would have got their ass whipped? Because I was just all up in there proud with my Warner Brothers. Oh, I was Warner Brothers out that night.
Oh man, we had Christopher.
So it's a lot of people. I know different reps that have been in situations where
artists got them in trouble.
Artists got them in trouble, man. My friend Tim Alston, he used to work for Reprise. Y'all remember him? He was out with Big Daddy Kane one night, and the promoter was like, oh man, we'll have your money. The Spectrum was sold out. And the promoter came up with half of Big Daddy Kane's money. And he says, man, I'm going to give you 15 minutes to get the rest of my money together.
I'm gone.
If you don't get it together, I'm gone. And he didn't get it together. Big Daddy Kane threw that microphone down and said, hey, guys, the promoter ain't paying me. I'm out. And according to Tim, the fight didn't way out there, man. He said he didn't know Big Daddy Kane knew Kung Fu. He said, man, Big Daddy Kane was kicking ass. So a lot of my friends, man, they've been out with Snoop, and gangs have shot up the van while they're in there. Thank God, man, I didn't have too many of those experiences, man. Like the labels I worked for, they weren't really like on that rap thing a whole bunch, I work with, different rappers and different artists, but thank God I wasn't with, any of those gangsters. A couple of them, I work with the DOC, and I work with a couple of them, Chino XL, and some of those gang member type dudes that were, but they were very respectful.
Right.
Very respectful, man. But they was gangsters, know?
Well, this is season 3, episode 1. This is our 3rd season of this, man. So we're excited about it. And it's funny that you talk. I mean, Arlinda was in the 1st season.
Arlinda! Oh, I hear she's in Atlanta, right? I hear she's doing big things.
No? She's living in Panama. Mama said, I'm out of the United States. Y'all can have this piece.
Mama said, I'm going to succeed and knock you out.
Yeah, she would always joke about when she first got into business. You guys can go back and look at that episode. That when she ran with Luke, when she was promoting Luke, she would always keep her heels in her bag, have her sneakers on, and they kept the van running in front of the club because she knew at any point in time, no matter where they were, a shootout could happen. So she had to be ready to go. I was like, what? She's like, when I was running with Luca, every time we had the van outside the front, always running, no matter what it is. And I put my heels. She said, I put my heels in my bag and I put my sneakers on because we were always running out the front door.
Right.
I was like,
yeah, man. I mean,
the days.
Listen, I personally love hip hop music, and I have big respect for some artists like, Kendrick Lamar and different people. You know what I mean?
Right.
But some of it is just crazy, man. And like, like I've been around long enough to have seen it in the very beginning stages, like when Russell Simmons was not really a Russell Simmons. He was just a cat trying to get his records on.
Right.
You know what I mean? And in fact, even before Kevin Liles, I was offered national director positions at Def Jam and all of that stuff, man. And I just thought about it. I said, you got to work with all of those guys, man. And most of them are good guys, but the audience that they attract, man, is dangerous. And, not so much, man. I don't want that every day. Like it was the labels I work for, there's little sprinkles of it here and there, but I don't want that. Like I respect Thomas Littell and all of all those cats that were doing that. West Party Johnson and all those cats, man. Because
you got a West Party Johnson story?
Yeah, because
Wes offered me the job. Actually.
Oh, okay. All right.
Wes offered me the job, man, and Wes was vice president, and rest his soul.
Yeah, man.
And I remember he called me. It was late at night. He says, "Nat, listen, man, I want you to come to New York and be national director." I said, "This was before Kevin Liles, And I thought about it. I said, "Well, in New York, like."
Where are you originally from?
Huh?
Where you originally from, Nat?
No, I'm originally from DC, but I worked in New York a lot. So I had already worked in New York, and I knew the cost of living in New York. And so you got to deal with the cost of living in New York. You got to deal with rappers all the time. I was like, I don't know about that one, Wes. I appreciate you, man.
We had Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker was on she was the last person on the show about a week ago.
Oh, wow.
We had Johnny Walker. You're talking about,
man.
I don't want to deal with rappers. She said,
yeah.
I said, which one of those guys kind of made you a little scared? She said, that damn DMX. He would come into the office with dogs.
With the dogs.
He said, some barking dogs. He literally come into the label with dogs.
And see, a cat like DMX, man, when you're dealing with artists, man, that dude was huge. You know what I'm saying? Like he was a crossover dude, like
they were coming to get him.
And I'm saying, like, the bigger the artist, the bigger the headache. Like George Clinton said, the bigger the headache, the bigger the pill. Hey man, those big artists like that, man, they come in and they start demanding stuff. You gotta deal with that.
You gotta deliver, right?
Yes, and a lot of those rap artists, like they haven't necessarily studied business in Harvard, so they're like, hey man, my record's not selling, and it's your fault.
Oh no!
I work with Gangstar, and I heard they went up to the label with a gun.
Yeah, they went in. It was Ed Exxon, I think they went in with the gun too.
I worked with them after that. I worked with
Guru Premier.
Premier, yeah. I was out on the road with them, a lot. They were respectful to me, but I mean, I didn't do nothing to provoke them too, but I mean,
like this, the last time we ran up with a gun, just to let you know who we are. Okay, now let's go. Let's go. Bro, man, I ain't gonna hold you for the whole night. So, man, I truly am blessed to have you say yes to come on the show. I do not take it lightly. Thank you for spending some time with me and Lo. I know we go back, but we still don't want to.
We all go back. I don't want to tell our business, but we all go back over 30 years.
Yeah.
So I just told our business.
And but you know what? A lot of people ain't around right now. And we went through those pictures and says, rest in peace, rest. We still here. So that's a blessing in itself.
And that's a blessing from God, man. I say my prayers every day, and I'm so thankful and appreciative to God for what he does for us.
Yeah. And that's why we want to have people like you on, so we can give you your flowers, Nat, while you're still here. You know, we can document this, and now we have it, you know. You know,
well, I certainly appreciate the opportunity, guys, and you know, I have nothing but respect for both of you. Great respect for both of you, and
thank you.
I try to do the best I can out here, and I love it. I'm not going to quit, so I'm going to be that old man with the cane walking up in the radio station saying, "Can you play this record?" That's how I'm going out.
You know what? You know what's so interesting about this interview, and Lorenzo don't know it, but you're the very first and only person that when I say this, you're going to give a response that Lorenzo gonna be like, what? Because when I saw it, I was like, what? Let everybody know how they can find you on social media.
I ain't gonna do it. Because I don't go on social media. I don't do so. Now that's
no social media.
That's not complete. That's not complete.
What?
No.
He got a small one that he can monitor stuff, but he ain't on social media.
That's exactly right. That's it.
If we had to choose anyone to be that person, it would be Nat.
It
would be Nat. It would be Nat. Yep.
No, and all of my friends and family and my daughter or whoever, they're all like, get on social media, and I refuse to do it. I'm not on Facebook. I'm not. Boy, am I a dinosaur. But what I will say is that I do have those accounts. So what happens now is I get so many young people coming to me. Oh man, can you help me get a deal? You know, because I'm blowing up. I said, oh, you blowing up? Yeah. I said, well, what you doing, man? I'm doing all this and that. I just go right to their Instagram page, and I see that they ain't blowing up.
Right.
Well, I go on, you know, I got all of that stuff. You know, I'm on TikTok every day.
But you ain't got. But you ain't. You ain't engaging. You ain't engaging in anything.
I use it as a tool.
Right. I laughed when I saw that. I said,
everybody laughs at me.
I thought that was the funniest thing. I said, okay, because usually I go on people's social media and pull their pictures.
Yeah,
and they forget about the pictures. Then I pull them in like, oh, and I was like, I can't find that. Where the hell is that?
like that? Like this situation right here, man, is special because I just, you know, I'm a background dude, man. I'm in the background for real. And so
you are.
Yeah, you ain't gonna catch me. You know, like a lot of the record people, they stars, they just as much of a star as the people that they work with. You know, I'm a stab at the A&R people. They all up in there popping bottles and media, they hanging sunglasses. You're not gonna find me doing any of that.
Right. He's like,
I'm the business.
And you would be the last person that I would hear their name associated with a Diddy party. And we will end it on that note.
How can people find you, Lorenzo?
They can find me Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Star 94.5 in Orlando. It's the Lorenzo Ice T Thomas Show. On Saturday nights, they can find me on Hot 105 from 6 to 10 p.m. It's the Lorenzo Ice T Thomas Show. And you can follow me on LIT Television. It's on Roku. It's on Amazon Fire Stick. It's on Apple TV. And you can find it on your Android. Or you can just go ahead and type in the URL LIT Television. And that's where you'll find all Lorenzo on that station. Thank you.
Right. That's what's up. Yep. And you folks can find me at Convo with the DJ on all social media platforms, including X, Twitter. What else is it? Instagram and Facebook. So this is what we do each and every Thursday, but this is our special edition because we got a special guest in there, of course.
Yes.
Make sure you hit the like button as well as share button because we want to continue to grow to our audience. We're going to continuously have our friends because these are our friends and we know these folks personally. Yes. and to talk about their journey in the music industry and the entertainment industry, because it's all intertwined. So with that, Nat, my man, I truly appreciate
it.
Guys.
Thank you for this beautiful opportunity, man. Wonderful show. I see nothing but great things for you guys.
I appreciate it. Look,
I applaud you.
And stick around. I'm gonna end the stream, and we're gonna chat it up about 2 seconds, and we'll move on to next. So next time we'll see you guys right here on, of course, Shooting the Breeze, Conversations with the DJ.